Go hit that like, hit that subscribe. It's playoff hockey time. Let's do it.
That's my baby. That's my baby.
We're going at it at 110%.
I just want 5 minutes of happiness, please. Just give me 5 minutes.
And they scored! They did it!
Left, feet left.
What the hell was that?
Oh, yeah! What the fuck are you talking about?
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a brand new edition of the Hockey Happy Hour right here on A2DRadio.com. I am Matt Sensuti, along with the Darkwing, Brian Daly.
What's going on, everybody?
And tonight, we are going to be doing some live reactions to game number 6 of the Vegas Golden Knights Montreal Canadiens series. Currently, the Habs lead 2-1. If they can hold on to that lead or lead by any margin and win this bad boy, then they are going into the Stanley Cup Finals for the first time since 1993, which was the last time not only the Montreal Canadiens won the Stanley Cup, but a Canadian team actually won the Stanley Cup. So it should be a very intriguing third period, to say the least.
To say the least. It's so boggling my mind right now that essentially an 8 seed.
Yeah.
Going back to the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
This Montreal Canadiens team reminds me so much of that 8 seed Kings team. They're rolling 4 lines. They're getting the depth scoring they need. They're killing power plays. They're doing all kinds of shit that's winning them hockey games. And Carey Price is playing like Carey Price of old, 27-28, Vezina Trophy winning Carey Price. So it's bonkers. It's bonkers watching this right now.
Absolutely. Prism.
2 top seed teams.
Yeah. Prism. What's up, brother? Saying, let's
What's
go,
good, brother?
boys. Buds, booze, and buds. More buds, okay. Hockey Happy Hour, almost a perfect night. Almost a perfect night, yep, because the residential Habs fan, it'll be perfect if the Habs can hold on to this lead here or win by some other lead and take this series.
Moira, I see you calling me out. What's up, Moira? Pete? New member, Pete?
Yeah, Pete joined up as a member, and we will actually show the world just exactly all the benefits you can get with a membership. Let me find that right.
Shout out. You get to come on screen with us. You can rant with us for 2 minutes. You can bash us for 2 minutes live to our faces.
Mm-hmm.
All kinds of great stuff. You get all kinds of perks from Money Pot Podcast when they go live. So all kinds of great perks. $9.99 a month. Can't beat it.
No, absolutely cannot. And by the way, folks, we have a poll question that we've got for everybody, as we do every week, brought to you by Body Check Wellness, a line of product using hemp. And you can get that for 20% off with the A2D code. And when Riley Cote, the man who created Body Check Wellness, is live on the air with us, you can get 40% off of a THC-free product box. And the poll question is, the Golden Knights are starting to develop a choking problem. Agree or disagree? Coming off of the heels of the fact that the Golden Knights have not had a lead, has not led this series at any point in time. They've had leads in games, but they've not actually been the front runners in the series. And there's been times where the Canadiens just have owned the ice on them. So last year we saw it happen where they got eliminated by Dallas in a series that probably most people were thinking Vegas was going to win. And they absolutely failed miserably. Now this year they're in a position where if the lead holds right now in the third period as we are underway, then Vegas could get eliminated for the second year in a row in the third round right before the Stanley Cup Finals. So, Brian, toss this off to you. Do you agree or disagree to the poll?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. There could be a couple of different reasons why. I mean, ultimately, any way you look at it, any way I could try to explain it anyway, could wind up coming back to choking. So, I mean...
Oh, there we go.
Big goal there.
See, call them out, and they respond. Vegas Golden Knights just tied it up. I believe it's Alec Martinez who got the goal.
I think so. No, it looks like it was Pietrangelo.
Oh, okay.
Or is it Martinez? I don't know. They're showing two different guys.
Let's see here. So the play gets set up, shot right into Price.
No,
Price
it was
can't get it.
Martinez.
Yep, Martinez. He poked it home. So the puck, either it got knocked down, oh, it deflected, and Price made the save, but he couldn't handle the puck. Drops it onto the ice. Martinez just slips it right through his 5-hole because he couldn't close it.
I mean, yeah, it's a great goal. Great timely goal. They needed it early. But to finish off what I was saying earlier before they rudely interrupted me, I think it's been goaltending has been their biggest issue over the last couple of years on why they couldn't finish. I mean, Fleury's a great goaltender in the regular season, and you know he's won a couple cups with the Penguins, but I don't know, one of those cups he didn't exactly win.
Well, yeah, him and Matt Murray tag teamed that one.
So I mean, it could be a number of things. I'm siding with Agree because they've gotten so far so many times in their early existence that maybe I agree. I agree with the poll.
All right, then. And let's see what we got on the chat side. We got Chrome chiming in. What's up, Chrome?
What's up,
And he's
Chrome?
saying,
You, buddy. Hope everybody's doing well, man.
yeah, hopefully. He's saying, hey, fellas, I agree to the poll if they blow this series. And Pete saying, agree to the poll, fam. So we got Pete agreeing on that one. Prism saying, it's a bittersweet moment for me. Don't want to see my boy Darkwing lose any money. Yeah.
What are you going to do, brother? What are you going to do?
And then he said, it's been a problem for Vegas Golden Knights. How many semifinals they got to in a row? I mean, they've gotten to the third round's been a bit of a pain in the ass for them. I mean, when you look at it, it's funny. The most successful run they've had in the playoffs was the year that they were winging it, where it was just the 1 year right after the expansion draft, and they just went, go for broke and hell bent for leather, and they managed to win not only the division but the West and go to the Stanley Cup Finals. Since trying to produce the super team that they've been building around them ever since, they've had some mixed results, to say the least. And they've gotten to 2 third-round appearances, but, this being the second one, they just tied it up. But the thing is that, and they're pushing now, so they're looking good right now. But at the same time, you lose this game tonight. Oh boy, that's a tough one to shrug off if you're the Golden Knights and how much money you're investing into the team and whatnot.
I mean, considering where they are and how much success they've had early on, and what you're paying as far as roster goes, it's a similar situation to Toronto. What do you do different next year?
Yeah,
who do you bring in?
You can even argue in Colorado too. It's kind
Colorado's
of the same
another
thing.
one, absolutely.
Yeah.
What do you do? I mean, these teams are all buying in. Toronto was a first-round exit. Vegas eliminated Colorado, and now it looks like Vegas might be eliminated by one of the biggest underdogs in the playoffs.
Who eliminated that same Toronto team in the first round?
Yeah. Oh, big save there.
Yeah, Lanier's had a really solid game. I mean, I think give credit to Lanier here, who's had to come in for Fleury after Fleury really he looked like he was playing the Flyers out there with the way Montreal was in his head. It just was not looking good for him in those last couple of games he started.
Oh, looks like somebody's wearing his 3X Pros. I didn't see who that was.
Let's see here.
It's the new Vapor skate line. It's an amazing skate.
Is it more for speed, or is it more for just kind of like gliding, or what would you say?
I mean, it doesn't matter for these guys. All these guys know how to skate really, really well. So
true.
You can, if you know how to skate on one skate, you can skate on any skate. It doesn't matter.
That's a good point. You are right. I mean, the pros do need to know how to skate. It's not like back in the day where you just had guys who could be like gorillas on skates, where their job was just to beat people up.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the thing that I love about this Montreal team is the fight in the dog. Like,
yeah,
they're never out of any game. I don't think they've really been blown out at all in the playoffs so far. And they don't let goals get to them. Like, if they give up a goal, they're right back in the offensive zone.
True.
Fighting
very,
for that
very
second
true.
one, or that tying one, or that game-winning one, which is the reason why they've gotten so far. They're not giving up on themselves. They're playing like a team.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. They've been all around just playing for each other, playing for the team, putting that, the all-in mentality into the playoffs, and it's paid dividends for them. Other teams just haven't handled very well. I mean, even Vegas, who have had moments where, it seemed like they were, after beating Colorado, it seemed like, oh boy, maybe Vegas is unstoppable this year. Now it seems like, well, maybe they are very stoppable. I mean, hell, they showed the stat earlier with their power play. 0 for 15 in the last 7 games, which means every game in this series on their power play, they have not scored on it. That tells you a lot about what Montreal's doing right now.
And it's like I was saying earlier, Montreal's doing just a killer job, and they've done it the entire playoffs, is killing off penalties. It's such an underrated thing that these guys do is their special teams, and they don't get enough appreciation for it because of everything else that they're doing well. And that's just the Montreal penalty kill. They're doing a great job shutting guys down. It's why they're winning games.
Yeah, you're right. You are absolutely right. Thank you, Moira. And Chucks, what's up, brother?
Chucks, my guy.
And let's see. Prism saying Mark Stone for Tavares. And then he follows that up by saying, well, I know Tavares isn't going anywhere.
Well, I mean, I'll have to double check it, but I'm pretty sure they have similar contracts. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities.
What's funny, though, you'd be trading captain for captain. That's the funny part.
Yeah. I mean, that would be an interesting trade, though.
Would be. And we got Tom chiming in, my boys. What's up, Tom?
Tommy.
And Prism Pove, he will be joining us. He'll be joining us at 11. He had a couple things he had to finish up. And
my computer just beeped, and I don't know what it was.
Oh. Not good.
Oh, I know what it was. It was telling me that it's charged all the way, so I can unplug it now. Don't mind the toys behind me.
And Eileen saying, hey there, gentlemen. How are you guys doing? I'm doing fine, Eileen.
I've been better.
Montreal still in the zone there. And let's see here. What's Prism got for us? Saying every team needs one person to almost be murdered to unite them.
Wait, what?
He says every team needs one person to almost be murdered to unite them. Well, apparently everyone but Toronto, because Tavares almost got accidentally murdered, and that didn't help them.
Wait. Hang on, time out. Let's go back. Let's go back a second.
All right, we'll rewind
Where the hell did that even come from?
I think he means what happened to Evans in that Winnipeg series.
Oh, okay, I got you. I'm following you now.
Oh, wow. Big chance for Dano there.
I'm following now. Yeah. Tavares got killed.
He did.
And they did nothing.
They didn't. No, Toronto, I don't know what the fuck they're going to do now. I mean, like, good God. You had a 3-1 lead and you pissed it away.
I think, the craziest thing is it's like I was saying earlier. Teams like Toronto, you got Colorado, you got Vegas, you got who is some of the ones on the other side? Toronto, Carolina. Like, what do you do? Like, what do you do moving forward? Like, your teams were some of the top teams in the league already. How do you shake things up? How do you make the roster better? Or do you just
see? The thing is, too, is that I think
interior moves.
I think a lot of the teams, too, might be. I don't think they're going to make too many massive shakeups if they're in the playoffs. And the only reason why I don't think they'll make too many massive shakeups is because we're going to go back to the full 82 this coming year, and we're going to have some different dynamics. Plus, also the flat cap will still be in effect. So I don't think any major changes are happening. I think more of the teams that miss the playoffs, i.e. the Flyers, that's a different ball game. But for the ones that are in the playoffs, unless you were a team that was lucky to even be there or a team that's still trying to figure out what they can do to consistently be in the playoffs and consistently be successful, that may be a different game. But for top teams like that, I don't think anything drastic is going to, change anything. I mean, I wouldn't change any drastic changes on that.
Well, when me and Priz were talking a couple weeks ago, Nate Mack to Anaheim. Let's go. Make it happen. But not for Trevor Zegras.
That'd be interesting. All right, we'll give you Nathan McKinnon. We just want that young up-and-coming player you got over there.
Trevor stays put. I'm looking at you, Maddie. Trevor stays put.
I'm not the one who's making that deal.
Trevor stays put.
You talk to Prism. He's the one who proposed this deal. Anyway, Mark Hoven. Mark Hoven saying, "What's up, boys? What's up, Mark?"
Put. Mark, it's been a while, man. Hope you're doing well, brother.
Adam Modick saying Cole Caulfield. Sheesh, yeah. Caulfield has been sensational.
He's been a stud. You can catch Adam on Kicking It Stateside. Adam, you guys seem to be going on at random anymore. So if you want to pop in the chat, let people know when we can catch Kicking It Stateside.
Absolutely.
Awesome, brother.
And, definitely want to check them guys out because the Euro Cup is actually going right now. So big opportunity to check out some inside analysis on what that tournament's holding for you. I guess would that be the second biggest tournament or the third biggest tournament?
I think it's the second biggest tournament.
Tournament?
All of soccer. Catch Adam and our boy Brian Wheeler on Kicking It Stateside. Two of the best guys that know soccer and they know how to break it down. So check them out, Kicking It Stateside.
And Eileen was asking what the poll question was. The poll question was, the Golden Knights are starting to develop a choking problem. Agree or disagree? Now, the main reason why I actually threw this poll question up was because in the West, since the kings of kings in the choking world, the San Jose Sharks, are currently not a playoff team, and they won't be for a little while. So the question is, who takes the throne from them right now until they return to the playoffs? So that's my real question right now. Who's going to fill in for the void of being a team that's got all the talent in the world, they just can't get the job done when it comes to winning the cup or even getting to the final?
All right, so the boys on Kicking It Stateside are currently trying to figure out their show schedule. But when they come back, check them out because they really do know what they're talking about when it comes to soccer.
Absolutely.
I don't.
Well, me neither.
Anytime I go to their poll, you can ask Adam. Ask Adam while he's in the chat. Every time I go to their poll, I literally flip a coin, and they make fun of me for it all the time. Especially Wheels. Wheels usually bust my balls pretty good about flipping the coin.
Let's see here. Prism saying, what's this one? Stone for Giroux would almost be perfect for Flyers, but I know what 50% to 70% Flyers fans wouldn't want to see Giroux go. Well, I mean,
he can't go.
Yeah, the no movement clause, unless Giroux wants to waive it, and I don't really think he would want to, honestly, because he loves being in Philly so much that it really wouldn't even be a second thought of him saying no to it.
No, not even just that, man. He's rolling up the franchise ranks. As far as like points, assists, power play assists, all that. He's rolling up all those franchise numbers, and I think he wants to set some records. So he wants to win a cup here. So
yeah, true. And Giroux's more of a loyal guy, whereas you could tell which guys are more loyal, which guys are in it for the money. You know what I mean? I mean, there are some guys out there who are just like, I want to be on this team. Obviously, we all know Sidney Crosby's never leaving the Penguins. So no matter how old he gets and no matter what the team looks like, he's going to be there until he's hanging them up. So it's kind of the same thing with Giroux here.
Which, by the way, I've heard through a couple of sources, and yes, I do have sources, and no, they're not anything crazy. Everybody likes to rip on Sidney Crosby, but I hear he's like one of the nicest, like most calm dudes on the ice. Doesn't say anything to anybody, does his own business, just works, and we'll love to have a guy like that.
Yeah, I'm sure he is. Again, my hatred for Crosby is just from one simple fact: he plays on the wrong team. That's the only reason why I truly hate his freaking guts, and that was a big chance there because that took that bounce off the backboard.
So I gotta ask. So initial thoughts on Malkin, just as a person, not as a player.
Seems like he's got a really hot temper. And he can't keep that shit under control sometimes.
Well, let's just put it this way. He's a ginormous asshole. He's a ginormous dick. So
So okay, so I'm not too far off in my thinking there. Yeah. No. All right.
I can't tell the story out on what happened, but yeah, ginormous asshole.
All right then.
These are coming from pretty reliable sources, so.
All right then. So Malkin, the asshole, Crosby, the hardworking nice guy. There we go. We've got our sources have reported.
Just thought you guys were like, no, yeah, my sources.
Yeah. Eileen saying, "Hey, do you all know where I can find rare Bobby Clark merch anywhere locally?" That's tough. Like, I mean, the best bet you would have would probably be maybe flea markets. I mean, honestly, that's the best bet because I've seen some stuff that you don't.
Yeah, that'll work. Flea markets, any pure sports memorabilia stores. I'm sure you could probably find something. I'm not really 100% sure. eBay, flea markets, memorabilia stores would be my guess for it.
Yeah, that
Are you
would
looking
be
for something specific.
Yeah, that'd be the big question. So we'll see what she'll be looking for, but she did agree to the poll.
That's right, Tommy.
Yes, Tom has it right though. Fuck them. Fuck the Penguins. Thank God they got eliminated. Thank God the Islanders did us a great favor by getting rid of them.
It's total Sourcegate, but you know, I was told I really shouldn't be even putting some of the stuff I hear at the hockey store through here, but you know, as long as I keep people nameless, we're good.
There you go. Anonymous, an anonymous source, an anonymous tip. We should have a tip line actually for A2D. We need to get working on that.
Listen, I'll tell you what. I mean, I hear some great stories in there, man. I'm not gonna lie. I hear great stories involving like players or, mainly players, but you know, I mean, it's fun. It's just fun to listen to some of these stories and get some takes because a lot of the stuff that I'm hearing actually comes from a player in the league. So,
well, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, Prism saying, I don't want to see him go, but I think Stone's play style would be perfect with a top six with Couturier and Farabee. Now, I'm not arguing that Stone would not be a valuable asset on the Flyers. He absolutely would be. But it's just the realism of that happening. I don't think they would because, again, like Bri was saying, you know, he wants to set some records, and he's a loyal guy. I don't think he would want to go, even if the Golden Knights are, knocking at the door of a Stanley Cup Final or possible Cup, you know?
Well, I think at the point that Vegas ever gets rid of Mark Stone, they're not a playoff contender anymore.
Yeah, good point. You're losing your locker room leader right there.
And what's good about that team is they have Pacioretty, who's a former captain. They have Pietrangelo, who's a former captain. They have Shea Theodore, who's a future captain. They got people to you can see if Mark Stone ever decides he wants to leave.
True. And let's see. And Prism saying, fuck him with a 2x4 sideways.
Ouch.
Oh, let's see.
Ouch.
This is what Eileen was looking for. She's looking for a bobby head and just merch from Broad Street Bullies days. Yeah, I would say, and I would say that the best way to find that would be definitely like flea markets and merchandise areas like we were talking about because, like I said, I'm going to just the Columbus one in Jersey. There was like several like vendors who just had tons of hockey merch, and a lot of it was Broad Street Bully, Philadelphia stuff, books and shit like that, you know. And, you know, I think there were some jerseys, but jerseys, they always like to price them out the ass. So, you know, you're better chance of going to eBay for things like those.
Well, I mean, depending on the jersey and the seller on eBay, you might actually get fisted for
true. Good point.
Like that. So
yeah, good point. You're right. It's tough though with those because you know whether you're going to a flea market or whether you're going to eBay, it's like sellers. It's not like you're going to a business. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. No, for sure. And like I said, flea market. actually probably going to be your best bet, to be completely honest with you. Flea market to probably have all that. Some sellers they go there and they sell all their old school gear,
True.
old school merch, old school all that stuff. So
plus, you could haggle if you want to. You could haggle if necessary.
Emilio, they're not going to do much because again he is 22, and the two goalies behind him are 24, and I believe Usumenko is in that same ballpark. So
wow, what a chance for the Golden Knights, but the pass just missed.
Yo, Trev, what's up, Trev?
Hey, Trev.
Been a while, bro. I'm not. If he shits the bed again this year, I'm not. Again, another situation where they should not be worried.
No. And 22 years old, Apparently Trev's in Florida vacationing.
What's a vacation? What is that?
Prison. It's a thing where people who, apparently have something called vacation time, some magical thing, they're allowed to take off work and go to a cool place to, relax and stuff. I know it's very
does that involve what do they call it? That stuff that they compensate you for when you do work. Oh, money.
Yes.
Because I don't have any of that.
Well, apparently he drove down to Florida, so
hey, listen, man. It's not a bad drive. It's not. It's like an 18-hour drive down there.
Now, did you do the old get up at real early, like 4 or 5, to try and beat as much traffic as possible to try to get to Florida as soon as possible?
That's something I would do.
I mean, it's smart. I mean, it's it's a bitch if if you got to try and get to sleep, but if you can pull that off, hey, it's a smart move.
At 4, right? If you leave at 4 in the morning, you're gonna miss heavy traffic going through Washington, which is the huge one. After that, it's not that bad. I drove to Charlotte. I did Charlotte.
And he left at 3:30. Wow, he was really trying to beat that traffic. Woo.
Dude, that traffic in Maryland going into DC is a bitch and a half. I've made that drive once. It's not fun. It's not fun driving in Washington. I'm telling you that right now.
Oh God!
I did that years ago. Going to a Capitals and a Ducks game with one of my boys, and getting into DC was a bitch. Getting out was easier because it was like 10 o'clock at night, but getting into DC was probably one of the worst things I've ever encountered in my life. Never again will I drive through DC.
Now, you had to drive through DC to get to, what is it? Because the arena is in the suburbs, right? Like it's technically in Maryland. Chinatown. What's up?
The arena is in DC. It's in Chinatown.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. The old U.S. Airways Center, that was the one that was on the outside. The MCI Center and the Verizon Center, which currently is. What's
up, Kevin? Happy belated, brother. I saw it was your birthday yesterday.
Hey, Kev. Yeah, happy birthday to you, man. To you.
The stretch from Florida after Jacksonville is a joke. There's nothing. Yeah. That's a lot of Everglades, I think, isn't it? The Everglades are in that area, so not a whole lot going on.
As long as you don't, decide to take a dip in the river and get eaten by an alligator or a crocodile, you'll be fine.
Hey, listen, if I ever golf down in Florida and I see an alligator, I am going to try and play with it. I'm telling you that right now.
Are you going to try to get a skateboard out and, ollie over one? Like you
I am going to try and get on its back and hold on for dear life and try and ride it.
So you're just ready to you got a death wish. You're just like, you know what? Fuck it. What's life?
I mean, what are you going to do? You got to take chances in life. And one of my goals is to ride an alligator. And
it's one hell of a goal.
It is one hell of a goal.
Oh, so still
here for chaos.
Yeah. So 2-2 right now, still in the third. We got about 5 minutes, 5:55, so technically 6. And right now, 31 shots for the Golden Knights, 29 for Montreal. So the shots are pretty close. So from that, you would say it's a pretty even game, which I could agree. There's been times where Montreal's controlled the play. There's been time where Vegas has been, pushing. A lot of it has been due to, obviously, goals being scored and the momentum shifting, power play opportunities, which Vegas, once again, did not connect on. Montreal did not connect on, I believe, the one power play or the two power plays they've had either.
Yeah, I mean, going into this series, me and I talked to a couple of people about this, and we've all came to the same conclusion that this is going to be the best matchup for Montreal. And it's really playing out that way. That everything's in Montreal's favor right now. I mean, momentum hasn't been able to. They haven't gotten the full momentum swing yet. It's still going back and forth here, trying to get that feeler for the third goal. Because let's face it, that third goal is probably going to be the game-winning goal.
Yeah, most likely. Yeah.
So, I mean, they could have played Colorado. I think they could have handled Colorado fairly easily, believe it or not. I know Colorado has that big, scoring threat, that big speed threat, best transition team in hockey. But Montreal did a very, very good job against Toronto and Winnipeg specifically about shutting down their speedsters. And their speedsters didn't score. I mean, if you look at the Toronto series, they shut down Matthews. They shut down Marner. Nylander kind of got to be a bit of a nuisance, but, they did a great job of shutting these guys down and shutting down the big threats. And outside of Winnipeg, I mean, Winnipeg has the one line, but they shut them down too. And they're doing a great job of shutting down the first line for Vegas.
Yeah.
Vegas is going yet another game where their first line has yet to really contribute anything.
Do you think Vegas' problem is they're not wearing those really weird-looking gold helmets?
No, I actually like that they're not wearing them. The other ones, they were just too shiny. It reminded me a little too much of Notre Dame.
Oh, that's true, actually. That's a good – I forgot. Notre Dame does wear those, don't they?
Yeah.
But Prism saying I'm sweating bullets. And he also said if this goes 7, it's Vegas' series. And he said Nylander was the only of the 3 you mentioned that were worth a fuck for Toronto.
That's exactly my point, Pris. That's exactly my point. Nobody else stepped up. I mean, I guess Tavares couldn't. He was kind of sidelined with a concussion, and I think they said a strained neck or something. I don't know, but it was a knee injury. So he obviously couldn't do anything. And then after that, everybody else got shut down. Nylander was the only one who produced consistently. And there's a reason why they didn't hold a lead in any of the games after game 4.
Yeah. And that was, that was crazy to watch Toronto do that. It was just unbelievable watching them implode to Montreal after you would figure it's like, okay, they should have this series. But
I mean, it's crazy watching this right now. I mean,
yeah.
Again, I repeat, Montreal has shut down the first line of the Vegas Golden Knights.
They have.
I mean, shut down. I don't think they've had a single point.
No, I don't think they have either.
The second, third, or fourth line.
Yeah, and think about how much of a monster Mark Stone was against Colorado. He's been the MIA in this series. That's a lot.
I mean, if anybody can verify that they haven't had a point yet in this series, definitely let me know. To my knowledge, from what I've watched, I haven't seen anybody really. Maybe Mark Stone has a couple, but
the best player I think for Vegas has been Smith, really, in this series. Now let's see here. There's a good chance there that went wide. Montreal now going to carry it into Vegas' zone. Although change of gear there, Marchessault, who has also been MIA. Oh, there was a chance, but that one was.
Now would be a time for those two to show up.
It would be. Oh, a chance. Oh, wow. Boy, I tell you, the big fight from this Montreal team. Talk about fight, too. Let's talk about the Islanders, man, making that big comeback yesterday. Holy shit. Whew. There's no die in that team either.
Tommy, it's too early to talk about that. I know exactly what you're talking about, Tommy. It's too early for that, bro. I'm not even a Sixers fan, and I'm still not over it. That was bad.
Yeah, I heard that, and I heard that Ben Simmons is the main culprit for all the frustration.
Well, you think about it this way: if he dunks that ball in that fourth quarter, that changes the whole momentum of the game. That changes the whole dynamic of that fourth quarter, and the Sixers probably win Game 7. But that's neither here nor there. We're talking hockey.
True.
So let's talk about the Islanders series with the Lightning. It's been, aside from like Game 6, I feel like it's Actually, no, it was Game 5 when they got smoked 8-0.
Yes, they did.
It's been a very, very fun series, very evenly matched series, incredibly physical too, and that's one of the things that I thought was going to be the most intriguing about it, because we know that the Islanders play with a little bit of an edge. To see Tampa Bay step up and play with the same kind of edge, same kind of intensity, and really give it back to the Islanders is huge, and there's a reason why they are the Stanley Cup favorite right now.
Yeah, I agree. Kevin saying, I just found and saw on Google that Austin Wagner, who plays for Los Angeles, him and I share the same birthday. Huh, interesting.
So again, my computer's making noises, and I don't know why.
Person saying that Game 6 was insane. Love the Islanders home crowd. Yeah, the Islanders home crowd. I mean, they got a little excited, to say the least, at the end of the game. A little over rambunctious, throwing their cans out onto the ice. Clutterbuck was about ready to punch a motherfucker. So, yeah. I get it. It just, the fans were just a little – I mean, hey, come on. Give the Islanders fans a little bit of break here. I mean, if they wind up going to the Stanley Cup Finals, it's the first time since 1984 when they went to the Stanley Cup Finals last time, and they lost to the Oilers. So give them a break. They're a little overexcited. It's been a while.
Well, Josh Anderson just called somebody a fucking joke, but I mean, like, I get it, but in that same breath, like, you're throwing trash onto your team's ice. Like, I was talking to Priz and Rob about it briefly last night before I went to bed, and like, I get it, you're amped up. Your team's 1 win away from the Stanley Cup for the first time since what, 1983, four, and it's your last. It could be potentially the last time you're on home ice. Like, I get it. They were partying in New York last night.
No, I'm sure
they were partying on Long Island last night, but they could have hurt somebody. They could have hurt somebody. I mean, who was it? Cal Clutterbuck actually wound up smacking a beer can out of the air, stopping it from hitting him. So even in the presser, Anthony Bolivier said the same thing. He's like, these fans are amazing, but it is what it is. But it's one thing if you're trashing. I don't condone trashing the ice, period.
Oh, that was a big chance there.
Especially with beer cans. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, if you want to throw like hats or towels or whatever out on the ice and celebrate that, like, that's fine, but you're literally throwing trash on your home ice.
I will say that was kind of crazy. It's funny because it's like the Islanders are probably the only team. Whole big chance there for the Canadiens. It's a shame for the Habs that nobody was there to slide that one out, and that is going to be called? No, I don't think.
I know people hate Brendan Gallagher. I really like Brendan Gallagher.
I mean, I have no issue with Gallagher ever since he got his jaw broken by Niskin.
I know people don't like him, but he's the type of player, like, he's gonna. I don't want to compare him to Marchand, but I mean, he kind of is like a Marchand type of player.
Marchand just has this 2.0.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I think he plays a better game than Marchand. I think he plays a cleaner game than Marchand. He just knows how to get under your skin. And I love it. Him and Pietrangelo have been going back and forth the entire series. Anytime they pass each other, they give each other a whack. I love it. I love it. And that's part of the reason why my Warrior stick is a Gallagher curve.
Gotcha. And Mark does sum it up. You hate him when he plays against you, but you love him when he's playing for you. Or Absolutely. If you have him.
Hold up, Matt. I'll be right back.
Sure, go right ahead. Meanwhile, pass here for the Knights as they come in. The shot save made by Price. Very tense moments here as we are getting down to the final seconds here of the third period. Obviously, if someone scores here, clearly the game it will be over. And a chance, and that one drifted to the open side. And right now, it looks like we're going to die off here. OT. All right, free hockey time. All right, guys. Well, I got good news and bad news. Good news for you Knights fans of the world. Yeah, good news for you Knights fans of the world. Your team did not lose this game. But the bad news is that if you get scored on now, you're eliminated. And Montreal, bad news is your team still hasn't won this game. But the good news is if you score next, then the series is over. So there you go. And bad news all around, it's going to be nail biting most likely.
Well, there goes my plan for tonight. But yeah, so I grabbed the twigs.
Nice.
Got my galley twigs here.
Nice. I think what one did I have? I think I have a Hall one. Actually.
So
that because Hall had in for a little while.
Alpha DX and the Covert.
Nice.
Love them. Love these sticks. I'm telling you, if any of y'all out there play hockey, Warrior might be the way to go. What keeps beeping on my freaking computer?
And do you have like notifications set up on your social medias or something?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, let's see. Prism saying he's a lunch pail type of player, hard worker, grinder, tooth and nails. Obviously talking about, Gallagher. Oh, and Prism.
Yeah, he really is.
Prism, I'm going to give you some advice right now. Breathe. That would be the best option for you to do right now. Just take a deep, deep breath and remember this, that your team can win it tonight. But also remember, take solace in this. If you do lose, you're not eliminated. Yes, I know you said it could be Vegas' series if it goes 7, but that's not necessarily true because the last time they played in Vegas, Montreal did a pretty darn good job of making that arena theirs in Game 5.
So the thing that this really ruins my plan for tonight, I was going to jump off when Rob got here, but I don't think that's going to happen now.
Because of the OT.
Yeah.
Oh, then the NHL just like, oh, Brian, you want to leave early? Well, fuck you. We're going to have overtime now.
so much for being in bed early. Feeling under the weather. Of course, they give me an OT game. VTV, I'm a Ducks fan.
And I'm a Flyers fan.
And then we have another Flyers fan on the show as well. I'm pulling for Vegas because I have money riding on them. But I wouldn't be upset to see the Habs win. There's a couple players on that team that I really, really like. So I'm not really either, but I'm not going to be upset either way.
Yeah, and for me, as a Flyers fan, I'm pulling for Vegas technically because I picked them to win the Cup, and I don't want to be made a liar. But at the same time, if the Habs win, one of our regulars and A2D member, Prism, he's a Habs fan. So if the Habs win, I wouldn't be bummed out, honestly. I'd be happy for him.
All right, so Priz, you talking about tasting? Because I don't know how.
Ooh, breaking up there, Bri.
Oh no, not now.
Yeah. Well, while we're in intermission before the OT, why don't we? I'll bring this up while you work that out. I'll bring up there's an expansion mock draft that I found. I'll just run through the list while you're getting the technical issues there worked out. So let me see here.
I hope I'm looking at the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, gotcha. So Brian's going to work that out. He'll be back in just a moment. Let me see here. So from what I got on this mock draft here for what the Kraken could be looking at, starting off with the Anaheim Ducks, we've got forward Alexander Volkov would be one of the guys that could be open to be taken. Next up, we also have Aiden Hill from the Arizona Coyotes as possible pickup from them. For the Boston Bruins, it would be Jakob Zabril. And for Buffalo, it will be Rasmus Asplund, which I have on habitual because I hate the Sabres. I call him Assplug, but, Rasmus Asplund just for the record. Defense-wise, we've got Mark Giordano, which would be an interesting decision if they go with them. Now I'm officially by myself because Brian has actually left, and you guys are very, very close to me. Sorry, guys. Anyway, but Continuing to move forward here, Carolina Hurricanes, the forward Warren Fogle. That could be the possible pickup for them. And let's see here. For the Chicago Blackhawks, Riley Stillman could be selected by the Seattle Kraken on this. For Colorado, they're saying Jonas Donskoy, which would be interesting for the veteran D-man to go to the Kraken. For the Columbus Blue Jackets, they're looking at Gustav Nyquist, which would be interesting as well. And there you see Bryce saying he'll be back shortly, just in case anybody's wondering. Yeah, and I do call him ass plug. That's just how I am. Ass plug and cum fungus on the same line. That would be interesting. Put cum fungus and ass plug on the same line. That would be nice. That would be actually very, very nice to see. But it would be on the Sabres, so that way they would suck. So, yeah, we could beat them over and over and over again. That would be a lot of fun to see. All of our teams collectively, whoever you're a fan of here, unless you're a fan of the Sabres, then I'm sorry. Not really. But anyway, next up, we got goaltender for the Dallas Stars, Anton Khudobin, who, of course, had that great little run when the team went all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals last year in the bubble. They have the
I hate Congress every freaking week, every week at this time. Well, thank God it was quick, but still, it's not the point.
And Rob will be on with us soon. He's notified me and Bri, so he'll be on soon for everybody out there. But yeah, so I'm still just finishing up the mock draft here. It's looking like they've got Anton Khudobin from Dallas possibly getting selected by the Kraken, which would be interesting. Obviously, we all know what he did last year with that underdog run that Dallas went on to the Stanley Cup Finals. He was very much a part of that.
I mean, as of right now for Dallas, I would do everything I can to protect Antoine Khudobin because I like Ben Bishop. I think he's a great goaltender. Don't get it twisted. He cannot stay healthy.
That's true.
Good goalie. Just can't stay healthy. It's his biggest issue.
Yeah, I think that's been the one thing. That's just the one thing that's been holding him back pretty much his entire career. It's just been the injury issues.
Khudobin, I mean, outside of other issues as well, but I mean, Khudobin he's been good for Dallas. He's been good for just about every team as a backup. But
so Prism also saying we got Jake Ottinger. Ottinger is the starter next year. I mean, Ottinger played real well during the year. I mean, Dallas was just streaky, and that's ultimately what killed them at the end of the day. They went cold at a really bad time.
So about what time should I just walk away from the TV? Because usually that's when they score.
Well, I'll let Prism be the deciding factor on that since he has a horse in this race here. Priz, you go ahead and you let us know.
I mean, on the me and Priz were talking yesterday. I literally walked into my bathroom before overtime started, brushed my teeth, walked back into my room to watch overtime, and it was over.
Pavillier had already scored.
Apparently, I'm not allowed to watch overtime as much as they.
Oh my god! Oh, so what that means?
Go to overtime. This game's going to, but you know what? They're just going to score quick while you're taking care of some shit.
Yeah,
and you're not going to see the game-winning goal.
Well, what was really funny too was when we signed off, and then literally we signed off, and literally 2 minutes into the overtime, Nashville got eliminated because who scored for Carolina? I forget.
I think it was Sebastian Aho. I think if that's someone I'm thinking.
Yeah, you're right. I think it was Aho who scored that. But yeah, it was like literally like a minute into overtime. Anyway, let's see what they got here.
So, Priz, I should go brush my teeth as soon as overtime starts? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, I think so.
I think so, too.
Yeah. For the good luck. For defense-wise, let's see what they got here. They got Troy Stetcher as a Detroit Red Wings selection.
What's up, Ray? Fishing's all right.
Yeah. What's up, Ray? How's it going, brother?
Fishing's all right.
See, for Edmonton, they're looking at Josh Archibald. And for Florida, Chris Drieger. So that would be interesting.
Wow. That would be an interesting move for them for sure.
Yeah, I'm surprised that came up.
that solves that goalie issue that I was talking about before.
Yeah. I mean, technically, since they had Hudobin up here earlier, and then you also have Drieger, that's not a bad combination.
No, I mean, Hudobin's not really much of a starter anymore.
No.
And Drieger, he's good, but he's a better backup. I don't think he's a starter quality.
I mean, as for an expansion team, if you're kind of, if you don't have a Fleury-like goaltender to go snag like they did, and you kind of like,
For sure.
Now let's see here. Blake Lizotte for the Los Angeles Kings.
I don't know who that is.
Probably depth player. Matt Dumba for the Wild. That would be interesting if they went and grabbed Matt Dumba in the expansion.
That wouldn't surprise me too much either. I've actually heard him linked to the Flyers in the trade rumor.
I've heard that as well, actually, which would also be very intriguing if he wound up on the Philadelphia Flyers.
It'd be stupid. He's a top 4 defenseman who leans on the offensive side of the puck.
Well, wouldn't change any of the anything for the Flyers. Just business as usual.
No, and that's what I'm saying is Matt Dumba would fit exactly what the Flyers are trying to do, but doesn't.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a veteran guy. He's been around a while, and he's a bit on the younger side as well. But he's not a two-way player. He's more heavily offensive, which is fine because he's a solid player, but he's not what the Flyers need.
Yeah. Prism saying maybe Dallas can talk to the Kraken into a trade for Bishop. Maybe. I mean, it's not out of the realm. I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility that you could talk to the team and maybe like you take this player and we'll send this player to you. See, Brett Kulak from the Montreal Canadiens.
That could be a good take for them.
And let's see, for Nashville, they've got Victor Arvidsson.
Whew.
Yeah.
that would be a great grab for them if they got Victor Arvidsson. He's a good middle six player.
He is. PK Subban from the Devils. That does not surprise me. I'm pretty sure the Devils would love to offload Subban.
Yeah, that would free up a lot of money to do some stuff in this offseason, and then on top of that, you get PK out of New Jersey, which apparently a lot of people want.
I mean, it's kind of understandable. PK hasn't really been PK since Nashville, So
I mean, even before that, I mean, he was at his best in Montreal. He was okay in Nashville, and he got hurt in Nashville, and he was never the same player.
True. And for the Islanders, Kiefer Bellows.
Wow, that would be a big pickup too.
From the Rangers, Colin Blackwell.
Okay. The name sounds familiar. I can't.
He's not a bad young player for the New York Rangers. He's more of a depth player, but not a bad one. And then Prism saying great pickup. For Bellows, I believe that's what he's saying. PK had one good year in Nashville, which I believe was the year they went to the Stanley Cup Finals, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then he's saying
solid if they get Bellows. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. That would be a good pickup for them.
From the Senators, Chris Turney.
That's a good bottom six player, good leader to have in the locker room. It's been around.
From the Flyers, Nolan Patrick.
I could see that.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if he really wants out of Philly. I could see them leaving him unprotected.
I mean, they're not going to. I don't think they're going to protect him regardless. But if I'm going to give up the number 2 pick in the draft, I'm going to try and trade him and get something in return, and then let them take somebody else.
Good point. Yeah,
I hope they take somebody else. I should say.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Pittsburgh, Marcus Pettersson, which would be pretty good for them.
Yeah, he's a solid defenseman. He's a good top 4 D-man.
From the San Jose Sharks, Ryan Donato. Donato isn't too bad.
I do like Ryan Donato. I do. I'm a fan of him. Good third line center.
Yeah. Let's see here. From the St. Louis Blues, Vince Dunn.
Vince Dunn would be a good one too.
Yeah, Dunn.
If any of these actually happened, Seattle's already panning up to be a pretty decent team.
Yeah.
Except for the goaltending situation so far.
True, but I mean, if you draft pretty decently, maybe you get a pretty good goalie. Maybe even you look to the Flyers if Carter Hart, being the guy that he is. Maybe look at the Kraken and possibly say like, well, do you want Sandstrom or Ustimenko? And then you start working out a possible deal or something like that. But
he needs to be a starter somewhere, or at least he needs to be platooning with Hart on the main roster.
True.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Donato, I think was at his best in Boston. He hasn't been quite the same. He hasn't lived up to what they thought he was going to be, but solid player. He's a very solid player. I like Ryan Donato.
Yeah, he is a solid player. Out of the mixed year that the Sharks had, he was a decent contributor. Not spectacular, but decent.
Mm-hmm. He's a blue-collar player. He's a blue-collar player. That's why I like him.
They got Yanni Gourde from Tampa, just to finish that off. Travis Dermott from Toronto. And Zach McGowan from the Vancouver Canucks. And Daniel Sprong from Washington. Logan Stanley from Winnipeg. And that would be basically the teams there. And no Golden Knights pick because they are exempt.
Yeah, so Yanni Gourde, I'm not surprised because Tampa's going to have to give somebody up with that contract. Yanni Gourde's got a decent one. I think he's making like 4.5 to 5. And then I'm sure they're going to probably try and get him to take Tyler Johnson because I know they were shopping him this past offseason just to free up some space. Big scoring chance, just missed.
Yeah, big chance there.
All right, so I didn't ask.
Yes.
Who's scoring?
Oh, yeah. That's out to not just me, but also to the chat.
It's for everybody. Who's scoring? I got Galley.
Marchessault.
I got Galley. I think the Habs close it out.
All right, then.
Bill Schwarzenberger, who you got?
And he's saying, go Habs, go. Wonder what team he's rooting for.
I can't tell. Who's your hero? Who's winning it tonight for Montreal? Priz, who's winning it? Who else is in here?
He's saying Weber.
Weber bomb.
Weber bomb. Well, Weber did get a bomb earlier, and he made that one goal, give Montreal that 1-0 lead in the first period.
And Leonard didn't even see it either.
No, he did not. That one will just floater on in and not be icing because it hit off of... Oh, wait a minute. They're calling a penalty? Because that shouldn't be icing because it hit Leonard. Or are they mad because they felt like he didn't... Yeah, that bounced off his pad.
They may not have seen it touch him, maybe?
I'm confused. Oh, Petrangelo.
Good opportunity there. Josh Anderson with the block.
Yeah, that's a brave man to go down and block a shot from him. Let's see here. Okay, so...
Looks like they're rolling it icing.
Yeah, okay, they're rolling it icing, which is interesting. But, all right. So, that one...
Actually, you know what? I'm going against my pick. I'm going to go Josh Anderson. I think Josh Anderson's going to get it.
That would be actually... I could see that happening. Josh Anderson he's had a nose for the net.
He's had a nose for the net.
What a save by Price. Price showing why he won Vezina trophies, coming big there.
How fitting would that have been if Pacioretty got the OT winner?
That would have been
the fourth Game 7.
Holy shit, that would have been super fitting. Yeah, because seriously,
well, Tommy, we love the fact that you let us come on here and talk pucks, so that helps.
We do,
and
thank you also.
And we've been doing it for a long time, so and ATD is only getting bigger and better. So
that is true. And we got shows for everybody, not just the hockey heads of the world either.
Shows for everybody. Doesn't matter where. Doesn't matter where you are. We'll talk whoever. Oh, game over.
The series over. The Canadiens have won the series, and they go to the Stanley Cup Finals for the first time since 1993 when they had Patrick Waugh in goal, and they had John LeClair, Vinny Domphus, and the rest on the team that won that cup that year. Wow, that is just crazy. Wow.
The Montreal Canadiens are heading to the Stanley Cup Final.
And John Peel came in at the worst time to say "Let's go Knights" too.
Sorry, Johnny.
Sorry, Johnny.
Sorry, Johnny.
And Prism said he changed his mind to Paul Byron, who did get the goal. Actually, I missed that. Who scored that?
Oh man, and they're doing it. They did it without their head coach.
That's too. Yeah, they had a head coaching change as well during the season.
Well, I mean, I was talking about how do you say his last name? Dushmere.
Oh yeah, yeah,
With,
right.
Who's
yeah.
out with COVID? Who's out in COVID protocol?
That's right. That's right. So here's the chance. Oh, what a play! And it was Lehtinen who got that one. Lekkonen.
I think Galley got a point on that, so I should have stuck with Galley.
Oh, well. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The Montreal Canadiens, for the very first time since 1993, going to the Stanley Cup Finals. Bergevin is more than thrilled. And you know what? Honestly, congratulations to the Canadiens. Seriously, congratulations to the Habs. This was not an easy run for them. They've had to battle it. I mean, yeah, they swept Winnipeg, but I think that was also because Winnipeg swept Edmonton and they weren't ready for Montreal. But the great comeback they had in that 3-1 against Toronto to win that series and then to lead this series. Not at one point did Vegas have the lead in the series. Montreal stayed one step ahead of them the entire way and finished it off tonight in Game 6. Very impressive job by the Montreal Canadiens.
Canada is going nuts right now. And we're going to have an East versus East Stanley Cup Final.
Yes, we are now guaranteed that we're going to have a interconference matchup. Interconference matchup. So there we go. It'll be either the Canadiens facing the New York Islanders or the Tampa Bay Lightning, and we will find out who will be the dancing partner with the Habs tomorrow night.
Hey, listen, say what you want. The Habs are not going to go down without a fight for the Stanley Cup. And this Cinderella story has been great. I'm not like I don't like the Habs. Do I like some of the players on the roster? Yeah, but I don't like the Habs. But this story is great. This story is amazing. It
is.
I cannot believe right now that I am witnessing Montreal going to the Stanley Cup Final right now.
Yeah. First, I'm saying Habs win the cup in 6. So he's backing his team all the way to win their 25th, I believe, Stanley Cup in franchise history, which, by the way, would be actually very fitting if they won the cup because they're the ones who started the drought. It would be fitting if they ended the drought. So
I said it once tonight. I said it last week. I said it 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks. I'm going to say it again. This Montreal team is a team of dogs.
It is.
They're a team. They're hungry, and you can tell just by the way they play. They roll all 4 lines. They're getting production from all 4 lines. Defense is stepping up, and they're doing everybody's doing their jobs. They're cashing in on power play. They're killing off penalties. Carey Price is putting himself in great positions to not only make the initial save, but secondary, third chances. This Montreal team is special.
It is, man. It's crazy. So it's nuts. So I guess now the question at the bottom, folks, are the Golden Knights starting to develop a choking problem? Agree or disagree? I think now we can start giving that possible credence to that. But we'll continue to see how the Golden Knights perform into next year. But as for the Golden Knights, though, I mean, like we said before, what the fuck do you do now? You built this team up to try and pull this off, and you still didn't get the job done. I want
to get a better view of this hat. It seems very bland.
So the Clarence Campbell Bowl is the one that they're going to get. I was wondering how they were going to award these.
Yeah, that's what I was curious about too.
Yeah, because we don't have the traditional conferences. So the Clarence S. Campbell Bowl is the one that Montreal officially wins. Boy, that's weird.
Do they touch it?
Good question.
Do they touch it? Do they touch it or do they just get the picture?
Honestly, if this Montreal, I don't know.
That's not a terrible hat, but it's not great. It's pretty blah.
Well, it's tough because you don't have the conferences this year, so it's a little hard on the design, I guess.
And then there's
But-
Bill Daly, giant tool.
Love it. Trump 2020 saying no, and now the tears are flowing down.
Sorry, Trump.
Yeah, sorry, man. So, I know it's been a rough go of it for you. You lost the election, and now now your team's out of the playoffs.
Wow. This is pretty surreal, and I mean, like I said before,
No,
I
it doesn't
think
look like he's
they're not going
touching
to touch it. Good.
No, not gonna. No,
Team over though.
Superstitious bunch here, not wanting to touch it, which is understandable because the Flyers won the Prince of Wales in 2010 and they fucking touched it, and look what happened to them. Anyway,
I'm happy for some of these guys. I'm especially for Carey Price. He finally gets a shot at one.
yes,
Shea
absolutely.
Weber finally gets a shot at one.
Yeah, true.
Corey Perry gets a shot at one since 2007. Gallagher gets a shot at one.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm really happy for Priz. I'm happy that, his team's in the final, and an opportunity for Montreal to win a Stanley Cup for Canada for the first time since 93. Still, again, ironic that they were the ones that last won a Stanley Cup. It's just crazy to think about it, though, man. Think about how far we've come at the beginning of this playoff. We talked about it earlier. Who the hell would have thought this would have happened? Who would have thumped it, quite frankly, that this team, Montreal, out of all the Canadian teams, would be the one that made it out of their division. Not only made it out of their division, but wind up in the Stanley Cup Finals. No one would have said that. And if you had said that, either you're a Habs fan or you're a fucking liar. It's as simple as that.
I definitely didn't think that. And I said some things to some Canadians fans, and I probably shouldn't have. So I'm going to eat some crow here and say that I was wrong about the Canadians.
I mean, I knew
this team wants it. This team has so much fight in it, so much heart. They're playing for each other. Good for them, seriously. Especially that guy right there.
And Price can't believe it. He doesn't know. I mean, I can understand. This is the first time Price has ever been in the Stanley Cup Finals. Yes, I said that right. Price has never been in the Stanley Cup Finals, so this is his first chance to finally get a ring, which is crazy to think about. And think about it: generational talent goaltender Mark Bergevin. It cannot believe it either. And think about all the shit that got slung at him during the season. You know.
Cameron Ireland saying, Maple Leafs fans, I'm so sorry. Not. Cameron, appreciate you being a member.
Yes, thank you.
Trump saying fire DeBoer. They never should have fired Gallant. Say what you want. They never should have fired Gallant. That was stupid.
That was,
in my opinion.
I will admit, looking back on that was a bit of a knee-jerk reaction after that Game 7 loss. But, and speaking of that, he is now the head coach of the New York Rangers, which is really good for those young pups out there in the Empire State. Not on the Islanders, obviously. They've got their own. They got their own coach that's been getting a lot out of them. But Prism saying Guy Carboneau, Mats Naslund.
That kid was sound asleep. She ain't asleep no more.
Oh God.
Good. Now, most importantly, I'm more happy for Carey Price. He had one other opportunity, and I believe it was against the Rangers in what was it, 2014 when the Rangers beat them.
Yeah, because that was the year the Rangers went to the finals and lost to the Kings. Yep.
Thanks, Eileen. Have a great night too. Be well. Stay safe.
Night, Eileen.
Just you feel good for a guy like him. I love Carey Price, always have. Thought he's one of the best goaltenders in the league for a very long time, and just in a crappy situation in Montreal. Went through 2 rebuilds with Montreal. Pretty
much, yeah.
So this is huge for him, and I honestly will be pulling for them. Well, look at Montreal right now, as they should be.
They got a mosh pit going on. they got a mosh pit going on. I love it. I love it.
I hope they tear up Montreal tonight. I hope they have a great time, and they celebrate the fact that they're in the Stanley Cup Final for the first time in 28 years.
Yeah, enjoy it, embrace it, Montreal. Congratulations on getting to your first Stanley Cup Finals since '93. Cameron saying,
Yeah.
seeing the
Yeah.
Habs win kind of gives me optimism for the Flyers because we're built similar to the Habs. Yeah, you could definitely have comparison. We just need the toughness. That's the only thing we're truly missing is that toughness. We get that, and we're good. We're golden. So that's the only thing we need to add to it. But
Get that hunger. Get that hunger that Montreal has.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, see what this is a perfect example of hard work can pay off, even if you're a team that's a long shot. Think about that. Look at the hard work Montreal put into this, and now they're in the Stanley Cup Finals. Even if they don't win the cup, even if they don't, the fact that they even got to the dance is remarkable. It is absolutely remarkable.
I mean, I don't think it's absolutely remarkable because they did have a good regular season. They had a great start. They wound up going, 8-0-1, 9-0-1, or something along those lines. And
they did. Yeah.
They cooled off big time, but they found it again. And, like I said, I think they really gained a lot of momentum when they upset Toronto in that series. And after that, they just rolled. And it was a roll job from there.
True.
So, you gain that momentum, you gain that trust behind each other, you play for each other, you play for that weird logo on their sweater, and I mean it's just a C and an H, but it's
well, here's a fun fact. That H was not always there, folks. That H was put in there because of the fact that they're called the Habs. That's the only reason why it's even there.
Right?
Yeah. Because the original C was just the C. There was no H in the middle. And then they put the H in there when they started getting called the Habs, and the nickname stuck. So ever since then, they've had the H there.
I thought it was an A before the H. But anyway.
There was a cut for a couple of seasons. There was, yes.
It's just crazy. Like, this team has so much desire and will to win, and they really are a very fun team to watch right now. And I am out $100, unfortunately. I'm out $100, so every bet that I've made in the playoffs here has not went in my favor. So, that sucks and all. But hey, Montreal, I might have to put some money on Montreal and see what happens. Or maybe I'll put money. No, because either way I'll lose.
Either
way I'll lose. Not worth it. I'm done.
Done.
No more money.
Prism saying Montreal has big defensemen that are defensive minded for the most part, beyond Weber and Petrie, who have bombs and both play solid D, which is correct. They absolutely do, and they play very, very well on that defensive side of the puck. Yeah,
and then you have Ben Sherratt, who plays a very, very physical defensive game along with those guys. Has some offensive upside, but for the most part will play defense. And to Pris's point here, and I've been saying it the entire night, their PK comes up huge. They kill penalties. They don't do anything else. Yeah.
And then Cameron.
Flip on NHL Network here. See if I can get some more stuff on here.
Because French Quebec Les Habitants. Yeah, and that is correct. And so Les Habitants are officially in the Stanley Cup Finals, which is always good to see. Frank chiming in. What's up, Frank? I hope the Islanders win tomorrow. I think the Isles can beat them. And then he also goes on.
I think it's going to be another evenly matched series between these two.
Yeah, and then he said, would be pretty cool to stream the games in French. And then Cameron saying Lightning versus Habs, Islanders versus Habs would actually be painful to watch because they play that similar boring style. Well, it's not boring if you're a Habs or Lightning or Islanders fan. It's very exciting.
Yeah, no, for sure. I honestly, I think with the way they're playing right now, especially on special teams, I think they match up pretty well against either guy here, either team, and I like their chances against either team. Yeah, I know Tampa Bay is a powerhouse. I know defensively they are also a powerhouse. They have the best goalie in the league, but I think Montreal can definitely hang with them, especially with how disciplined they are, I think that takes the advantage of the power play out. What's up, Robbie?
What's up, Robbie?
Yo, I'm just sliding in like Law and Order. Dun, 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 dun.
Frank saying all of Canada except Toronto will be rallying around the Habs.
I honestly, I think Toronto might. I think Toronto might rally around them just to get the cup back in Canada.
So, Robbie,
Yo.
well, it's here. The Habs have shocked the world and have gone all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals. They've busted several brackets, probably almost everybody's bracket, I would assume, and are now awaiting to see who will win tomorrow night in Game 7 between the Islanders and the Lightning. My brother, what are you thinking, my man?
Well, first of all, I gotta say congratulations, Prism, because I'm sure he's jumping through the ceiling right now. Very excited, and you called it. You called it that they took Game 5 on the road to get home in Game 6, and that's how you maximize. When you don't have the home ice advantage, and being just the consummate underdog. Maybe we all have looked a little low on the Montreal Canadiens. I mean, this is a team that gave the Flyers fits, and now. Well, we see what the Flyers did this season, and we're like, all right, well, maybe they're not that good, but they're good for a reason. They're good. They're made up well for the playoffs, for a playoff run, and it's showing. And they shocked, everyone in Vegas.
Yeah, they've shocked a lot of people, not just the team in Vegas. So, I'm shocked right now. This is going to take a few days to really sink in that.
And
the Montreal Canadiens are in the Stanley Cup final.
I'm sorry for you. That's what I wanted to throw in there. You were like, a game away from $100. So I mean, hey, easy come, easy go. But I am sorry for you. I'm happy for the people in Montreal. You're talking about a team that they haven't been to the final since '93.
Yep.
Right, and they're the last Canadian team that won a Stanley Cup. Correct.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, you can't sell them short in terms of their chances of hoisting up another one.
No, and like I said, and I said it earlier, it would be fitting that they started the drought, and it'd be fitting if they ended the drought. That it's like, oh, yep, that whole strip of time. The only reason why Canada couldn't get a cup was because the Canadians didn't want to get one until now. That's what it was. They had to wait till Montreal was ready. Oh my God. And you know what? Even more fitting too, since it's the oldest franchise too in the NHL, and it's probably the most storied franchise besides the Toronto Maple Leafs. It's got the longest history to it, 100+ years in the league. Impressively so though. It's amazing throughout this entire time seeing how long Montreal's history is, and just this recent history of this team. Like you said, Bri, a couple of rebuilds, a team that was pretty mediocre in the 90s, shockingly won a cup in 93, and then after that, made the playoffs a few times, but were nowhere near where they need to be to make runs in the 90s. Early 2000s, they had some teams, but again, mediocre. Didn't seem like they were going to get the job done. Finally looked like they had something going for them, couldn't get into the finals, and now finally, after going through a semi-retool, now they're here. It's just crazy to think about the roller coaster that's been the Montreal Canadiens since '93.
Ralphie, yeah. So to Priz's point, saying that the Habs were 38 for 41 on the PKs at one point. Going into tonight's game, they were sitting at 93.2% on the penalty kill. That's first by a lot.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Second, 86.7. I've been saying this. I've been saying this for years since coming on the show. PK helps win games. You get yourself in penalty trouble. If you have a PK that can get you out of it, clearly Montreal does. It gives you a better chance to win, and I think that's why they have a better chance to beat Tampa than any of the other teams. I think that would have been in there.
No, yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I didn't obviously watch. I watched the overtime goal. That, like, right when I got home was when they scored. So you can thank me. You can thank me. It was on me. No, but no. But did Vegas have a power play goal in the series? Because they didn't have one coming into this game. Did they get one tonight?
No. Vegas did not score on the power play.
Yeah, so I mean, you win that special teams battle. It's very hard to overcome. I don't care what kind of juggernaut team that you are, obviously are not. Vegas.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look that up now. I'm sure I could probably find that stat for you.
Is Vegas becoming the new city to hate for sports? Because I kind of like hating on them a little bit.
No, it's still Philly. Philly's still number one.
Is it?
Well, Rob, I mean, I might as well get your opinion on this. Hold on. Let me pull it up. We got the poll question here. Are the Golden Knights starting to develop a choking problem? Agree or disagree? And now that we've seen the result and the Knights are out for the second year in a row in the third round, what are you thinking?
You know, when I read your email, man, this is how I was going to come into the show had I been here on time. First of all, apologies, Bam, for being late. Just got hung up at work. But I 100% agree. You're talking about a team that, they overachieved early, right? And then they've added a lot of pieces, a number one goaltender, obviously a lot of good forward pressure. And it seems like they've taken a step back instead of a step forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Cameron, I don't know if they regret it. I mean, you're still getting the same production out of Patches that they got in Montreal. You traded a prospect. You didn't know what was going to happen. I don't know if they regret it, but I mean, I'm going to pose this question to you, Rob, because I presented it earlier.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about this with Toronto. We've talked about this with Carolina, Colorado. And now we're going to post it with Vegas. Where do they go from here?
I think ultimately you want to target. I'm not familiar with their farm club. You know what I mean? Like in terms of what they have depth for goaltending, but obviously their goaltending is long in the tooth. So I would certainly try to either draft or at least develop a prospect, that's already in the system in terms of being that next heir apparent. Because I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, Fleury was great in these playoffs. But then he got to a point where it was not so great, and ultimately, Raymer got the call tonight, and I think that's a weak spot. I'm quick to go for goaltending. You can say a lot of teams in this league. You want to say what the problem is, you point to the goaltender. It's so easy to do. A lot of people pointed towards our goaltender, and I get it. You know what I mean? But other than that, I think they have a good formula. I don't like the head coach. I don't like how they went from Gallant and went to DeBoer. You know what I mean? That had left my head scratching because like, what does the dude want? Nothing. You know
exactly.
what I mean?
And a lot of people.
He got the Devils to the Stanley Cup Finals in 2012, but they lost to the Kings. And then I believe he was the coach of the Sharks when they lost to the Penguins in the Stanley Cup Finals. Mm-hmm. So it's like I hope that this is not a sign of things to come. It's like AV. He's gotten two teams to the finals. He just hasn't gotten the results. You know what I mean? He hasn't been able to get the job done in the most important series.
And much like AV, you can't really move on. You know what I mean? What are you going to have, a different coach every year? You know what I mean? You got to have, I've absorbed that point from Brian over here that, you can't just keep on going from head coach to head coach. You got to create a little bit of stability.
Mm-hmm. And if something's not working, you got to be able to change up the personnel, not necessarily just the coaching staff, because that might not always be the problem. And we're seeing that in Philly. Yeah. Go from coach to coach to coach. Same mentality, same results. So, I mean, even Trump was saying earlier to fire DeBoer. I don't think you need to fire DeBoer. I definitely think you need to look at your roster, see where the weaknesses were. See where the weaknesses are, and because that's right, they're exempt. So I was gonna say, you're gonna lose somebody, but look to see where your weaknesses are, make moves this offseason to try and fix that. One of the things that maybe you shore up the defense a little bit more. You go out and get some guys that are more role players, specifically maybe on the penalty kill.
Right.
Not give Montreal as many. That won't give Montreal as many good chances as they had. There's a couple different ways you can go about it, but yeah, I think you got to look at goaltending, and Fleury's at the end of his career. Ravin Lanier, I agree with Trump. I don't think he's overrated, but I don't think he's starting material. I think at the most he's a platooner or a backup. So if you can go out and find a legit number one, I think that's probably your best bet for Vegas to finally get over that hump, get back to the Stanley Cup final, and eventually possibly win their first in the first 10 years.
And
yeah, that's another way to address that.
Yeah. And Prism saying if the coaches get changed more than the players, then the players start to feel like they're in control and they don't need to make changes to their games, but the game plans to fit them.
Absolutely, Pris.
That's some good reverse psychology there.
Yeah, I mean, I've said it once, I'll say it again, and I'll say it 1,000 more times, I'm sure. Teams win games by being in the offensive zone.
Yep.
And Montreal did a very good job through the playoffs of playing in the offensive zone. Granted, the first 4 games against Toronto didn't really work that way, but after that, Montreal hasn't given up a lead or hasn't really been playing from behind. A couple games in this series where they've had to play from behind, but they've been unreal since Game 4 against Toronto.
Yeah. Now, Cameron saying, I say, yeah, Vegas are chokers, but man, it's hard to say hockey teams. They get goalied in the playoffs. Well, what I would define as like a choker, in my opinion, in terms of hockey wise, is if you have all the talent in the world and this team pretty much should be a cup contender every year. And if you get eliminated once or twice, or you make good runs, but here's the thing. If you don't get to the finals at a decent amount of times, like say like a Boston frequency, Boston's been to 3 Stanley Cup Finals in a decade. So that's a good frequency right there of at least getting to 3 finals, even if you only win 1. So that's one thing. But if you're a team like, say, the Kings of the Choke in the West, San Jose, a team that's won President's trophies, division titles, has all the talent in the world, and has constantly found itself getting eliminated either before the Stanley Cup Finals, in the round right before it, or way earlier when they shouldn't be, or getting to the finals once, and by that point it's too late. The team's already gone over the hill. And on top of that as well, you're facing Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh buzzsaws your ass. So it's one of those things of, that's what I would define as a choker, as a team that can't get the job done when it's at its best. And if it winds up getting to the final and it's too late, that the team isn't as strong as it used to be. We've seen it happen. Ottawa in the early 2000s had amazing teams, didn't get to the final until 2007, and they were a shell of their former selves by the time they got to that final.
I mean, I have to agree with that. For me, choking is the team that has a lead. Toronto choked.
Yes.
Toronto, hands down, choke job city. I don't necessarily think Vegas choked in this series. I think they just got flat out outplayed. But I mean, I see what you're saying, and I see where you're coming from, because they are a cup contending team in every way, shape, and form, from goaltending to defense to forwards to special teams, all that. Absolutely. But the Habs just came out playing. They got flat out outplayed in most of the games. So do I think this specifically was a choke job? No. But I think they've had too many past experiences over the last few years that have wound up being a choke job.
I'm kind of looking at the whole playoff run. You beat the Colorado Avalanche, a very dangerous team, and you don't go on and win the cup. Like, you know what I mean? Or at least get to the finals. That's kind of that's how I took your question, Maddie. Not just like this series alone. Because, it was a pretty even series all the way down to the end. And, I believe the Canadiens were 500-1 to get here, or either to win the cup or to get to the finals. So, you could say they choked because of they should have handled them, but obviously the whole world is underrating the Montreal Canadiens, except that large group of people that are partying right now that they showed on USA Network earlier this evening.
As they should be partying. As they should be.
So what's up, Benny? And then Clay Harbison saying, fuck Pittsburgh. Yeah, I'm fine with that. Fuck Pittsburgh. And thank God they're not here. They're not in the Final Four. Thank you, Islanders, for eliminating them. And also thank you for eliminating Boston, too. You did us a great service by eliminating both of those teams. Thank you very much. And let's see here. Prism saying the only
Trump,
way
that's how we feel over here in Philly.
Oh, yeah,
We're just tired of being let down by all our teams.
Oh, yeah.
We know how you feel. We know how you feel.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yes, sir.
I'm a salty Predators fan. Yeah. I mean, hey, though, but look at it this way, though. Your team was not considered able to make the playoffs, but you guys got in, and you gave Carolina a run. It wasn't like that Carolina beat you guys down. You fought Carolina pretty hard, and, I mean, they had to dig down deep to get you guys out. So I'm just saying I guess it's better to make the playoffs and actually, even if you get eliminated, to at least give a fight than to just roll over and get swept or what have you. Like good old Winnipeg decided to do in the semifinals to Montreal. So there you go.
I mean, to be fair, like I don't know if Clay will agree with me here, but first of all, Clay, hit that like, hit that subscribe on Facebook, man. Never miss our show. We're talking hockey every Thursday. So I'd love to have you be a part of the show every week. Secondly, I don't know if you'll agree. I don't think Nashville should have even been in the playoffs with how they played earlier on in the season. I mean, there were talks of them, selling pieces off. Ekholm, Ryan Ellis. I heard rumors of Forsberg, but I don't know how serious they were. Possibly Duchesne, like. I mean, you got a great young goaltender in UC Saros. If you can retool quickly, and I think they can, I think they have a good GM and they have a good head coach. I think they can rebound quickly and get back to being a consistent playoff team. I think they still have some good young pieces there, some good veteran pieces that shouldn't go anywhere, like Philip Forsberg. And I think Nashville will be fine.
Yeah, and Clay was saying, they shouldn't have. So he agrees. They shouldn't have been in the playoffs. But, hey, you know what? They still fought. And that's the important thing. They showed that fight. Chris said, I'm trying to take a hit for every cup the Habs have. Great. Good luck with that, because you got to do it 24 times. So, have fun with that. Oh, God.
Yes.
Somebody's getting ripped tonight.
Yeah, and Clay's saying, oh, yeah, we can. So he's definitely agreeing on that one. He's saying, damn right. I don't know if he means on the rips part or if he's or if he's talking about the what you said about the Preds there. But Cameron's saying Hurricanes are starting to develop that choking label too. I don't know, because the Hurricanes are still relatively this particular team, I can't say that they would fall into that. I can't say that right now, because this is a newer Carolina team to the playoffs. They've only been in the playoffs, the last 2 seasons? So, I mean, and the year before that, when they were not expected to do anything, they eliminated Washington, the defending champs, in 7 games. Then they swept the Islanders in the semifinals. And, yeah, they got swept by Boston in the Eastern Conference Finals. But, it is what it is. The following year, you got out of the first round, and then you swept your way through the qualifiers, eliminating the Rangers. Sure, you lost to Boston, but at the end of the day, quite frankly, I can't really say Carolina's a choker. You know what I mean? I think it's too early to call that for them, because I still think that they have a few things they got to add before that. This team is just as capable now, but if they add just a couple more things here and there, that team will be perfect. You know what I mean?
When you're on the up and up, it's more about growing pains than it is choking.
Mm-hmm. And I think that was Carolina to a T, especially with their goaltending. I mean, Mrazek has been around, but Nedeljkovic is still. I mean, he's 25, 26 years old. Yeah, but he's still a rookie in the league. So give him another year, we can revisit whether or not it's a choking label. But yeah, I mean, the bunch of jerks thing just got started.
Yeah.
What, last year was the first year they made it for a while?
2 years ago.
So, still, there's still some pieces that are still question marks, and I think you got the right coach for the job with Brind'Amour, and you just got to keep building, keep growing, keep developing. If Carolina can get to the Eastern Conference Finals next year, I think you have a successful year for them.
Yeah, for the East right now, the Choke Kings are Toronto. They've got that locked up, lock and key. They got the crown jewels right now. Until they can get the fuck out of the first round, no one's taking it from them. And even then, it may not go away because then they're still got to try and get through the other rounds to get to the Stanley Cup Final. So, until Toronto manages to pull off what Montreal just did, I can't really take that off of Toronto. They're the Choke Kings right now of the East.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's see here. Benny's Nation. I think if you ask Paul quietly, he would tell you he would be preferred not to make the playoffs. What do you guys think about that?
I agree with that. I don't think he wanted to. I think he wanted to sell some pieces off, get a quick retool together, and get back to the playoffs in a couple years.
I could see that. Because Nashville's kind of a team in transition because they've got some of those pieces that they can build around, like you were talking about, Bri. So they're kind of slightly in transition from that team that went to the final to the team that's going to be the team of the future. So when you're in that period, it's an interesting time because you're seeing the team slowly start to build itself back up. But you gotta miss the playoffs sometimes to do that.
All right, gentlemen, on that note, I'm going to jump off here a little early tonight. I'm going to try and get some sleep. Like I was saying earlier, not really feeling all that great. So,
hot tag. Boom.
All right, Brian. All right, Brian. Well, you take it easy, brother. Feel better, my mans. And
we'll do. Robbie, I do have to talk to you about something, so we could talk tomorrow. Nothing serious, nothing bad. So, yeah, nothing good. Not bad, not bad. I promise, it's good. So,
Melissa Hard today.
All right, boys, enjoy the rest of your show. I'll be in touch. All right, boys.
All right, peace, Bri. Take it easy, brother. See you next week.
Love you guys.
Yeah, I got the USA on mute on the background where the game was. So that's why I came in hot like Law and Order. You know what I mean? They went to that. No, very little after game coverage, and I get it because NBC Sportsnet's covering the Olympic trials. So that's got to be done. Important to get that off finally. A year later. So.
Yeah, very, very important. And Prism saying, quick 2-point question for everyone. Which franchise has been the best since losing their last trip to the finals? Who has done the worst since winning it in the last trip to the finals? Okay, so the best team since losing their last trip? Well, interesting. I would say... Let me see. So last year, Dallas. The year before that, Boston. So neither one of those teams. If Boston had not made the finals 2 years back, I would have said Boston. But
exactly.
Let's see. The year after that was Vegas. I would say Vegas. I mean, yeah, I know that we're saying that they're chokers, but they've still been pretty damn solid. It's just been they just can't seem to get out of the third round. Let's say they've been doing the best though since their last trip.
Yeah, they didn't go away. They didn't pull 97 Marlins where they won the championship and then dismantled and then they were bad. For actually not for that very long. They actually pulled it together 4 or 5 years later, but they've maintained that level of success in the regular season. I get that for sure. I mean. I don't know. I mean, I hate to do it to you, Priz, but I'm going to have to say I'm going to start with the second half, who has done the worst since winning their cup in the finals. It's Chicago Blackhawks.
Blackhawks? Because what? All right, that makes sense. I mean, you know,
what have they really? I mean, don't get me wrong, they haven't been god awful, you know, especially like closer to that time period. But what have they really done in the regular season or playoffs since then?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Something?
Good point. I mean, they won that last cup. Then the very following year, they got swept by Nashville in the first round. And then after that, they started having a really hard time even making the playoffs. So, yeah, they went down the rabbit hole real fast after that last cup. So, yeah, I would agree. It would have to be Chicago. I mean, because
the Kings too, maybe the Kings too.
You could say the Kings. I don't know though, because the Kings were so unexpected to win that second one. The first one, the first one I would give as sort of like that was a team that was like Montreal. They were just a team that was like a cockroach. No matter how much you stamped on them, they just wouldn't go away. They just kept coming back and winning. Whereas the second one, they were down in that series 3-0 to San Jose, and then they pulled the reverse sweep. Jonathan Quick woke the fuck up, and the rest of the team did along with them. And so after that, they went on that run, and that was it. That was all she wrote for the rest of the playoffs.
No doubt. Absolutely. I'm struggling with the first half of the question, though, because, I mean, you could say long-term over years. I mean, with the regular, and I hate to freaking do it, but what about the Pittsburgh Penguins? You know, they're always contending in the playoffs. You know what I mean? Have they missed the playoffs with any regularity since their last finals appearance?
No, they haven't missed. I mean, I don't know. See, the only thing that gives me pause on Pittsburgh, though, is that they haven't even been out of the first round.
Right. That's why I struggle with that answer as well. Not the fact of saying it. Hey, you know what I mean? You know, whatever. I'll call it like it is. I don't care if they're a hated rival. You know what I mean? But, you know, other than them, though, I mean, teams just have gone so up and down in this league. I mean, St. Louis?
You could say St. Louis, but I don't know.
Same boat, really.
Yeah.
It's just less years in between, you know?
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, they didn't have a stellar year this year. When they lost Alexander Pietrangelo, they lost the heart and soul of the team, and they struggled this year. I mean, they barely even made the playoffs, and they got swept by Colorado. Then the year before that, when they came in, they got upset by Vancouver in the first round. So they were the defending champs. So, you could say St. Louis, but I don't know. I mean, I think you really do have – I think you have it really good cornered on Chicago, at least in my opinion. Now, Priz did say Anaheim, which is a good point. After Anaheim won in 2007, they never made it back to the finals. I mean, they made it to the playoffs plenty of times. They won division titles, but they got to the Western Conference Finals multiple times, but never got out of that, and they always found themselves on the wrong end of the series. Right. So, I mean, you could argue Anaheim, but you know, honestly, I think Chicago still takes it though, because of just the fact that they went on such a sharp decline. I mean, Anaheim still had plenty of years of competing, whereas after Chicago won that last cup, it was literally 1-2, boom, out. They've been gone since.
Absolutely, especially considering right around that time period is when they locked up Taves and Kane for 8 years simultaneously. You were thinking, man, they're building a dynasty right now. I mean, not building it, but solidifying it, laying the cement for its foundation to cure. And there's some cracks. There's some cracks.
True. Edmonton, that's not a bad choice. Edmonton made it to the finals as an underdog in 2007. No, not 2006, when they lost to Carolina. So, and then
with Pronger, and then he went to Anaheim in 2007 and won it. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And they haven't. I think they made it one other time after that, and then after that they fell off the map, and then they only recently surfaced in the playoffs and they still have troubles even getting out of the first round in their own right. I mean, again, the only thing that puts them one step ahead of Austin Matthews and Toronto is that they won a series a few years back, and that's the only reason why. So, but yeah, you could argue that one.
Yeah, I like that.
Another good one from Cameron, Carolina in 06. Speaking of that, they did win in 06. Following year, was Carolina even in the playoffs? I think they were. And then Carolina started to really have a hard time making the playoffs. I think their best run after that was in 09, I think it was. They went all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals and lost to Pittsburgh. And then that was it. That was the last thing Carolina had done for a long time up until recently. So, that's a good choice too right there. Carolina's not a bad option. Oh, actually, I got the best one of them all. Florida. No one's done worse than Florida since their first trip to the Cup. No one. You can argue that, but I don't think you're winning on that one.
Florida was actually the first team that popped in my head, but I dismissed it, and I forget why, because I shouldn't have. You're right. You're so right.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't think of another team. No other team has done worse making their first trip to the Stanley Cup Finals than Florida. Absolutely.
Good, you rat bastards.
Cameron saying, yeah. Prism saying Florida wins. Absolutely on that one. Still Florida's only time getting out of the first round. Only time. And Benny's saying, just gonna say Florida. You beat me to it. Well, I'm happy I did. Every once in a while, I gotta win the battle of the wits. I don't very often, but when I do, it feels good.
That's when you're dangling the dollar on the other side of the fishing pole. Oh, you gotta be quicker than that.
The person saying Florida 1, Chicago 2.
Yeah.
The person saying the dynasty dreams died when they never replaced really Patrick Sharp or Hossa in the team. Yeah, that's a very, very, very good point. Yeah. And 3 cups in 4 years. Well, it was a dynasty, no doubt about it. Yeah. Chicago was the most recent dynasty. I mean, I can't even say Pittsburgh is. And the reason why I can't say that is because there was so much time between 2009 and the 2 back-to-backs. There's way too much time in between them to call that a dynasty. But all right, then. So on to real quick here, on to the news, just to give some news and notes to wrap this bad boy up.
Oh, cool. Oh, you guys haven't talked Paxtall yet?
No, I did not get a chance to because Bry was having some technical difficulties when we went to intermission in between the third period and overtime. So I had to bring up a mock draft for Seattle. Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's how we do.
So, ladies and gentlemen, the Seattle Kraken, they have signed one player so far, and I forget his fucking name because he's probably not even going to dress for the team. And but we do know who their coach is, and their coach is former Philadelphia Flyers head coach and assistant coach in the Toronto Maple Leafs organization, none other than Dave Hackstall. Hack has resurfaced as a head coach, and it is in Seattle. Interesting that they're choosing Hackstall here. Rob, what do you think about this?
I think it's going to be a good fit. I really do because, you're talking about different parts of the country, but you're talking about more north of the Mason-Dixon line, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like how he was successful in North Dakota. Seattle, you can kind of see similarities. You know what I mean? Not really in that big market where you're dealing with high, taking questions with regularity from the media. Not that you're not fielding your questions. Every head coach does. But, obviously it's a little less further around. And I just think it's a good fit because when you talk about a guy that's going to build a team and put a team together, I like college coaches for that. And I don't mean to associate him as a college coach. I mean, he has been a head coach with the Philadelphia Flyers, an assistant there in Toronto. So obviously he's had NHL experience, but that's his roots, college, recruiting, putting a team together. So if you're going to put a team together in Seattle, I think that's a fine choice, and I'm happy for him. I'm very happy for him. I hope he does extremely well. Yeah,
it will be an interesting situation. Now, Benny's does say Hack is probably a perfect coach for an expansion team. Will preach a defensive style of game. Now, one thing to be said, There have been expansion teams that have come into the league that have played defensive style, and it benefited them. I mean, Minnesota played a very defensive style game when they first came into the league, way back when they had Marian Gaborik and everything, and they actually went all the way to the Western Conference Finals one year. So, I mean, they didn't play all that poorly, and they played a very defensive style of hockey when they first came into the league. So, something to be said. Maybe the same thing will work out in Seattle, especially if they build up a pretty decent defensive pool. They might be able to score that. It also depends on who their goaltending is. If they get some decent goaltending, I could totally see them doing a defensive game right out of the gate to try and get results.
Sure. By the way, the name was in the back of my mind. I was trying to pull it to the forefront. Luke Henman.
Ah, there we go. That's who it was. Prism saying, wonder why they didn't go after Gallant, but maybe Gallant wanted the Rangers forwards and Adam Fox to coach for the next 4 years.
Yeah, I think so. I think they wooed him. I'm sure they talked to him. I'd be sure that'd probably been the number one coach available. You're looking for. You know what I mean? But Rangers got a little bit more of an inside track there with what they have as a team. Also, I'm sure a little more money on the table too.
Absolutely. And a good point, Cameron. Nashville was also a very defensive-minded team in their expansion year with way less talent. And ironically enough, by the way, one coach that should be given a big props for boosting up a team that was considered pretty much nothing but a doormat for the better part of a decade, Barry Trotz, because he was the coach of that early Nashville franchise, and he got them to the playoffs. I mean, they didn't win a series for a while. I think they lost to Detroit one year, and they lost to San Jose a few times. Didn't really do much, but for a team that was just starting out, for them just to even make the playoffs, that's pretty impressive. When you're brand new to the league and you manage to get into the postseason on a few occasions, big deal for just starting out as a franchise. And as for Barry Trotz, big props to him turning this New York Islanders team into a formidable force. I mean, he did it 2 years back, getting them into the playoffs for the first time and in a long time, actually. And they wound up beating the Pittsburgh Penguins by sweeping them, which was no one saw that shit coming. And then after that, they went on to get swept, but the following year made an unbelievable run to the Eastern Conference Finals and lost to Tampa. Now this year, they're back in the third round as one of the final four teams in a rematch with Tampa, and they've got a Game 7 coming up tomorrow off of an amazing comeback victory in overtime yesterday. So really, at the end of the day, when you look at all of that, Barry Trotz is an amazing coach, deserves all the credit in the world, and just wanted to give him a little bit of the props there because he's done an amazing job with this Islanders team.
Oh, absolutely. Agreed. A lot of tenacity, a lot of resilience there to send that to Game 7. That's going to be very exciting.
Yep. And then, by the way, Prism and Benny's both saying you had some great points there when you were talking about Hack there. So
sometimes I do. I don't know how I'm speaking coherently right now. With the amount of hours I've been up, the amount of work hours that I've been up, and the amount of intoxicants in my body right now. Like, I don't know how I'm making sense.
And Prism saying the Isles crowd is bananas. Love the chants. Wasn't a fan of trying to the beer, throwing the beer cans to the ice.
Yeah, it's a little far. That's how they do up in New York, But I did like the fuck Stamkos chant. That was pretty nice.
yeah, the fuck Stamkos chance. That was actually pretty funny.
Yeah.
That was funny. And then Cameron saying, yep, Caps have never been the same since Trotz left. I agree. And the Caps absolutely shat the bed in the first round against Boston this year. And after having a pretty strong regular season too. So there you go. But anyway, besides that, I believe there was, Gerard Gallant going to the New York Rangers, which great situation for them. Young team having the offensive talent that they have. Gallant's just going to bring out the best in them. So the Rangers are going to be a pain in the fucking ass as they usually are, big time next year.
That's right, man. I was predicting them to do big things this year, and we saw that. I mean, they were a lot closer to making the playoffs than the Flyers were. Because I recognize a lot of that young talent on that squad, and I mean, maybe I expected a little bit more out of Alexei Lafreniere, but hey, in due time, you know what I mean. Kids develop at different levels. Just because he's number one highly touted draft pick doesn't mean he's going to hit the ice like the great one, Wayne Gretzky, right from the standpoint. So, they're not going to be fun to deal with.
No, they are not. For Eichel trade destinations, I mean, we've heard a lot in the rumor mill. The Rangers have obviously been one of the big ones that we've heard the most on. I know that there were a couple of other people thinking that the Flyers are in the conversation. I don't know if the Flyers would really be able to do that because, a lot's got to go to Buffalo's way just to even bring Eichel here because, we don't really have as much cap as you would like to have if you're going to bring in a big contract like Eichel's. I mean, hell, even after you make the trade, then you're bringing Eichel's contract in, then you're, probably hitting the roof. So, it's like it's a bit of a as great as a talent as Eichel is, and as much as I would like to see him in an orange and black jersey, it's just one of those things of, is it fiscally responsible for the Flyers to do that? And the answer is no.
That's so Paul Holmgren, old way of thinking or what have you. But honestly, it would take like half our team, and we might have to throw Gritty in because have you seen the Sabres mascot? He sucks. So I'm not willing to lose Gritty.
I don't want to either.
But I've been saying Rangers since day one, but I thought it would have happened by now. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. I mean, we're not even in the off season yet. You know what I mean? So a lot could happen, but I really thought a deal was going to go down in season. As Rangers were making a playoff push. I'm surprised that it didn't because Eichel publicly said he wants to play for the Rangers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you always get your wish or whatever, right? What would be an interesting throwing out of left field at you type of suggestion would be if the Edmonton Oilers were looking to shake things up and really change their core because it just ain't working.
I mean, Edmonton has pieces that you could, but the thing is, what kind of pieces are you willing to give up? I mean, obviously you don't want to trade Draisaitl away, because you're not getting rid of McDavid. Would you send Ryan Nugent-Hopkins to the Buffalo Sabres along with some other pieces? But even then, it's like, are you hurting the team's offense a little too much? But then again, probably not, because you're bringing in Eichel, so you might actually be helping the offense if you do that move. Getting rid of Nugent-Hopkins, who is a very important player, not going to lie, he does add depth scoring, but, may not be the worst thing in the world for them. But do you give up a player like a Darnell Nurse who's on the defensive side, which I wouldn't want to do because they do need that's the other problem too. Do you want to get rid of defensive players? Now, I wouldn't want to do that if I was the Edmonton Oilers, especially if you're having goaltending problems, and you don't know if you've got the answer right now in the offseason for those goaltending problems. That's the other thing that Edmonton's got to worry about. But let's see here. Prism saying, what if Vegas gets into a shakeup to shake up their roster? Speaking of where do they go next, they'd have to give up a contract to match. Vegas would be an intriguing option. I think they might have to give up more than just a contract. They might have to give up a couple of pieces as well to really land Eichel, because I don't think Buffalo would want to just get one player back in return. And I don't know if Vegas would. I don't know if they got the draft capital to play around with, because, the capital they got isn't necessarily high, because they've been in the playoffs pretty much since day one. But 2 first-round picks is better than 1, so you could always throw one of them in there.
Supposedly.
Yeah. That's an interesting idea, but that's going to take a lot of machinations before you can really before you get that deal off the ground. Let's see. Benny's Nation saying the package I saw had TK, Frost, Ghost, and a first. That one isn't a bad package to throw at Buffalo to get that deal to land. The thing, though, again, it's not the package that worries me there. What worries me, I mean, I wouldn't want to lose Frost, but, you know, if it came down to it, make an omelet, got to break some eggs. But here's the thing. My one problem with that is, though, what about the cap? You know, because it's a big contract you're taking on. And then the problem is you also have the big contract for Jake. I mean, Giroux's is ending, so it's not as bad. But then you have the issue of re-signing Carter Hart. And then you also have a few other problems that you got to bring up. Plus, you have Kevin Hayes' deal that's still around for a long time with a no movement clause on top of that. So, you know, I don't know. It's the contract that really bothers me with the Eichel situation. Not the player and not the package. It's the contract that's killing me on this one. I just don't like that. I don't like it. That's the one thing that kills the deal for me. And I'm just looking at that from the fiscal side. I'm not looking at it from player talent-wise.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I've dismissed it. You know what I mean? Because with the flat cap, our hands are so tied right now. But I mean, I don't know. For me, it is a little bit of the player though, because you know when things can't work out and you hear people whining and complaining, that's not the type of hockey player I want on my team.
I mean, I get it, but honestly, see, here's the difference between the Nolan Patrick whining,
right,
and the Jack Eichel whining. Nolan Patrick has no business having a shitty situation. Like, so you don't like playing for the coach? Boo fuckity who? We fucking put up with your bullshit after the fucking concussion issues and giving you a chance to try and prove yourself. What, you're not a fan of AV? Oh, fucking cry me a goddamn fucking river. Shut the fuck up, you little fucking ungrateful asshole. Seriously.
I think back to when Flyers were playing the Sabres and Eichel just flat out stopped playing on a play that led to a goal, like totally abandoned his forecheck or whatsoever. I don't want that on my team. We already have enough players like that, Maddie. We don't need them.
No, I gotcha. You know? But here's the difference, though, in my opinion, for the Eichel thing. I think he's just so sick of fucking Buffalo's bullshit. Buffalo's just been fucking jerking off the entire fucking time, and he's been put through the fucking ringer. And I can see it, and you could just tell the look in his eyes. He's just so. Maybe that was just a bad press conference at the time, and he just wasn't in a good mood. But it's just his eyes were just like looking of like I don't fucking care. Like, he's just not liking life right now. And don't get me wrong, not many players were liking life in the whole pandemic situation, but I just think it was more than that. I think he's just so sick of the fucking Buffalo bullshit. And that's pretty much what they've been specializing in for the better part of a decade now. It's been complete lackluster coaching, terrible ownership, and on top of that as well, just GMs have not had a plan to solve the problem. To me, it just seems like I feel like Eichel has a legitimate gripe with Buffalo, whereas Patrick, like, what the fuck, kid? Like, seriously, we're dealing with your bullshit, we're giving you a chance, and you want to act like a little spoiled brat? Fine, fuck off. Like, we fucking want you. Like, we got plenty of young players here that actually want to play for us. But anyway, Cameron Erlin saying, dude, if the Kraken were smart, call Buffalo and say, we'll take Skinner off your hands for Eichel, and they buy Skinner out. If that could work, that would basically put the Kraken's GM as a spectacular GM right off the bat. Because not only do you get Eichel, then you get rid of the Skinner contract on top of that, which is not pretty. And it's like, perfect. What more could you ask for? You didn't have to take on a really bad contract. You bought his ass out. And then on top of that as well, you get one of the best players you could ask for. That's a smart move all around there for the Kraken, just winning on that deal. Let's see. Prism saying Edmonton needs to get defensive players and goalies. Yes, I agree. They absolutely do. Benny's Nation. Isn't Hopkins a UFA? I'm not sure. I think he is, but I'm not 100% sure on that one. Let's see. Benny's Nation. Ultimately, if we're going to move pieces, it needs to be for a top two defenseman. I agree. Yeah, we've been talking about this before. You know, the more on the side of the Dougie Hamilton, Seth Jones talk, like that's where we need to see the Flyers name come up. not necessarily on the offense. I would rather see them more in that department than in the department of, let's go get Jack Eichel. Like, that's just more offense that we don't necessarily need,
Right. There's more offense in this team than what we saw this year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This team just had a bad go at it. A lot of things in play. Kevin Hayes playing with a sports hernia. You got to expect he's going to be a better back in production, closer to what we saw in year one. Maybe not quite to that level, maybe somewhere in between, which will be just fine. You got other guys that just had a down year. You know what I mean? There's offensive skill on this team to the point where now, if you want to utilize a situation where you're breaking up the core, and this would have to be a deal where you're trading Claude Giroux in this deal, right? And potentially Jake Voracek and getting rid of that big contract as well. And then you bring in Eichel to be your captain. That's the only way I see it like that. And Claude maybe, being sentimental. I don't necessarily want to see Giroux go out like that. You know what I mean? He has a chance. He has a really big chance to be, maybe the second best Flyer to Bobby Clark.
That's true. He absolutely has that possibility of falling into that category. I mean, he's the longest running captain in Flyers history, so that's impressive enough as it is. He's outlasted Bobby with the C. So just to break that record alone is impressive because we've had a pretty decent amount of captains in our team history. Let's see. Prism saying Flyers need to acquire 2 defensemen, Seth Jones or Dougie Hamilton to pair with Provy. Trade for Ekholm to bring the pair with Myers. That would actually be more ideal for the Flyers to try and pull that off than the other way, than going after Eichel at this point. And Benny's saying, should tell you that life was better for players in Buffalo because they didn't have to go out in Buffalo. Yeah, I guess. Good point. Good point. Good point. Good point.
While we're talking about Buffalo in the pandemic life, it reminded me of earlier this week on Tuesday, Rene Robert, legendary Buffalo Sabres player, played on that famed blind, the French Connection blind. You saw that in the that was the second Stanley Cup with the Flyers, I believe, where it was you had the ice steving up the fog bowl, so to speak, or what have you. But a legendary player, he passed away this week at 72. So Godspeed, he was a great player, a legend of this game, and he will be missed.
Absolutely. Condolences to his friends and family on that one. And Prism saying, I don't want Chicago to be in on Eichel. I'd rather keep Doc and his contract and keep trusting the scouts and the kids in the pipeline. That may not – see, here's the thing, though. I see where you're coming from on that one, but, honestly, Chicago may not be a bad option for him to land in. I mean, that actually could give them a shot in the arm in terms of them transitioning into a newer team. In my opinion, if you don't give up too much young talent, you could conceivably do it. But the problem is like, well, you don't want to trade Patrick Kane because that would be fucking stupid, and then on top of that as well, then you kind of stuck with trading some kids and you don't always want to do it. But if you don't give up too much and you can throw some picks in there and they're more valuable picks and Chicago's a little bit lower in the standings, maybe that gets the deal done and you get Eichel and that gives you a shot in the arm. You could have Eichel and Kane working, that's not a bad that's not bad right there, And I understand though, if you don't want to lose Doc, I get that. You definitely don't want to lose that. And his contract is pretty bad. I get all of that. I do.
Yeah, I know that him and Daly were going at it in the chat. Brian thought it would be a good idea for Chicago to go for him, I believe. I mean, I don't know. I can't keep up with them. I wish I had the time, Chris. I'm sorry. You guys have the gift for gab. I mean, on the chatting side, on the DM side, me now, dude. I look at enough screens all day.
Yeah, I gotcha. See, me and Pris, we got our own separate chat. We're just talking about heavy metal. That's pretty much all we talk about on the other side. Oh, let's see here. Now, Prism is saying I'd give up Picks and Strome as the key pieces. If that can get the job done, that's not bad. You're not giving up too much.
Yeah.
And Cameron's saying the thing is with Chicago, they trade a bunch of kids, and then they find a bunch of kids in the 4th and 5th and 6th rounds. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Possibility is open there. He also did say
drafted pretty well.
True. And Prism did say RIP to Rene Robert there.
Yes, Robert.
But yes. So for Eichel, honestly, to put a little bow on that one, for me personally, hey Bryce, what's up, brother? Let's give it a shout out to Prism there. And Prism saying it's I stand around and reenact clerks at work all day. Nice. I love it. But yeah, I mean, honestly, to finish that off, I don't like the contract. And so honestly, even if we're sending an equal contract, no, I'm not interested, that's the only thing that makes me not want Eichel is his contract. If it wasn't that, I would totally be down with it. I would totally be for, okay, let's put a package together. Let's try and see if we can get him. But it's too big. It's too hefty. The flat cap's still in effect even into next year. They won't be renegotiated until the end of next season. So again, it's one of those things of, I don't like it. To me, it's putting the Flyers in a bind. And I don't want to put the Flyers in that. And plus also, we already got offense on this team. I'm more concerned about the defense. That was our biggest problem. Hart's going to be fine. It's the defense we need to focus on here. The young pups are still young, and they're showing that because they were having a very hard time handling the responsibilities of all of them having to make the plays by themselves. So they need veteran defensive talent or top player talent in there. I'm more worried about that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, so many turnovers in their own zone not only leads to opponents' goals, but it leads to lack of offensive zone presence yourself. So, I mean, certainly the talent's there on the offensive scoring. We saw that when they had offensive zone presence, this team wasn't a goal scoring team. Yeah. They were giving up way too many goals, especially in the second period, right? Where the young defensive mind tends to take a nap. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, you improve that defense and you're going to improve your offense in the same breath.
Absolutely. Prism does bring up another good point. Eichel still has to get neck surgery, too. Another reason why you don't want to necessarily – because he's got a sports hernia. So, you don't necessarily – it's another thing, too, like how long's that recovery time going to be on that one as well? I mean, I'm sure it won't be that bad, but still. Bryce saying Montreal, wow, yeah.
First time since 93, man. Long ass time. I was a young man in 93.
I wasn't even born yet because Montreal won the cup in June. I wasn't born till July. So that's
you were pre-cum at that point.
Yes, yeah. I was in the womb at that point, basically.
You were conceived.
I was in the womb. I wasn't born until the next month. That was the thing. Yeah. I was about to be born. It just I wasn't there yet.
All right. That almost counts.
Yeah. Sure. So basically, what that means is that I was kind of there, but not completely.
Kind of, but not really.
Yeah.
Legendary.
Let's see here.
Legendary line from the Hockey Happy Hour right there. That's like year one.
There you go. So let's see here. Base Nation would be a good question for Brian, but Anaheim is in the picture for Eichel, but it would mean Zegras. He is not a big fan of that deal. Earlier today, that was brought up, and he was not a fan of it. He was mad at me. I don't know why. I'm not the one who proposed that fucking deal. So Prism did, though. Prism absolutely was in on that game, so blame Prism.
Prism likes to poke the duck as it were.
I see what you did there, but yeah, he's not a fan of Zegras leaving. I mean, he wouldn't mind Eichel, obviously, but he doesn't want to give up Zegras. So let's see here. Yeah, he would. He would absolutely have an aneurysm if Zegras was in a Buffalo jersey instead of an Anaheim one. Blackwell saying, who can the Flyers get defensively, realistically trade in free agent options? Well, it's been mostly the talk on Dougie Hamilton and Seth Jones. That's what they've been, that's where the rumor mill's been flying to. Yeah. I've seen some other possible outcomes. I mean, you could have, we talked about it last week, a Denny Savard, which wouldn't be a bad option, who's played well for Tampa in the playoffs and has played well, period. And then you also have, I heard somebody saying maybe OEL, which would be an interesting option to look at for Ekman Larson. Wouldn't be the worst option in the world. It may be a change of scenery could help him instead of being in Arizona. He may resurge in Philly, possibly, which wouldn't be a bad thing because when OEL's playing good, he's playing damn good. But there's options there. Flyer. Yeah,
to get it, the pun.
Yeah. But yeah, absolutely. And Prism saying he was 9 in '93.
Actually, that's not that bad. I wasn't that much older. What was I? I think I was a freshman in high school, I think.
So 15.
No, because I was younger. I was younger. I was younger than everybody. I was 14.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So. And Tom saying, congrats to Montreal paging the Flyers. Yeah, hopefully. That would be nice.
Hey, Tommy, the one good thing is, Tommy, it makes us look a little bit better the way Montreal gave us that hard time, huh? You know what I mean? Like, they're not this walkover miracle team that looked good from our poor play. They're a team that's really built for the playoffs. And, Tom, you'll know this from, not only following hockey, but from other sports. There's certain teams that they're decent regular season teams, but for some reason, when you get them in a playoff format, they're just built for speed. They're built for comfort. They're both. They're like the motorboat.
Yeah. But I will say this, though, man. This whole thing, for everyone out there who's ever shit on Carter Hart, I'm going to say this right now. You want to know one of the few goalies who's outdueled Carey Price in a playoff series? Carter Hart, motherfuckers. Yeah. He did it last year, and he had 2 back-to-back shutouts on top of that. So there you go. There you go. Yeah. Carter Hart is the shit. I don't want to hear anything about it. He's still one of the few goalies that can outduel Carey Price in a playoff series. And apparently, from what we've seen in these playoffs, that's a hard fucking thing to do. So there you go.
I gotta stop listening to y'all Philadelphia fans. I'm sorry. But you guys want to jump off a bridge every little second. Something goes bad. They're players. They're going to have good games and they're going to have bad games. Now, if you're talking about blasting Ben Simmons, that's a different story. I get that. I get that immensely, right? But it just, I'm seeing even Tom was going off saying that it's time to blow up the Phillies. I'm like, oh, all right. I'd be happy if you guys all did that or whatever. But I just, from an outsider looking in when it comes to the Phillies, I get that, that was a very bad loss the other day, a horrible blown lead twice, right? But you're all still in it. I mean, it's a very tight NL East, and I'm just looking at you guys as not too far off. You know what I mean? It's so weird from coming from different perspectives. But all I know is bringing it back to Carter. Can the kid struggle a little bit? Is that okay? You know what I mean? Because all the best struggled at some point in their careers. Michael Jordan struggled at some point in his career. It was there.
Yeah.
Look.
Yeah, I mean, Michael didn't immediately win championships. He didn't. He didn't immediately win championships with the Bulls. It took a minute or two, and then all of a sudden the Bulls had a super team. That's when they started winning championships. Don't get me wrong, Jordan was pretty much the primary reason, but still, at the end of the day, It took a few years before eventually they became the team in the NBA. I mean, not as long as, say, other teams, but still, there you go. Anyway, Prism also saying Carter Hart's still a kid, too. Yes, and that's the main thing. Carter Hart's 22 years old. So, again, to finally put that bow on that one, still managed to beat his idol in a playoff series, and it was his idol, too. So that's another big, feather in the cap for young Carter Hart right there. Sign of, well, not things to come, because I don't know how many times we're going to draw Montreal in a playoff series, because we're going to go back to normal next year, and that's going to be the Atlantic Division and the Metro. So I don't know if we're going to draw Montreal too many times, but who knows? Maybe an Eastern Conference final meeting somewhere down the line. Well, I don't know. Anyway, see, Clay Robinson saying, yeah. Simmons had a time if Doc can't fix his shoot, no one will. Yeah.
That's truth be told.
Carter saying, Carter Hart out-dueled the best goalie since Hasek, in my opinion, as a kid. Anyone who wants to give up on Hart should be banned from not only hockey, but speaking. I agree.
Absolutely. And also consider, too, not only is it playing against one of the better goaltenders, if not, Prism's opinion, the best goaltender since Hasek, but he's also playing his personal idol. I mean, that intensifies the difficulty in terms of the nerves and, keeping your calmness in the net. You know what I mean? And seeing what he did in that playoff series answered any questions that I need to say. I mean, yes. Can players shit the bed over the years? Sure. But I'm going to give him those years to do it. I'm not going to freaking jump off a bridge,
Yeah. I think that, unfortunately, that's what happens. We all, and Clay saying Hart is a badass goalie. And I agree. Hart is absolutely a badass goalie. No one can deny. And that's a guy from the Predator side of things who's saying that. So, you know what? He's also on the outside looking in, and he's saying that. So, you know what? There you go. What more evidence do you need? Everybody knows Hart's the shit. Everybody knows it. Apparently, Philadelphia fans don't. And you know what? It's unfortunately, it's actually routine in the history of the of Philadelphia sports when you really look back on it. God damn, what is it with the fans here? It must be something in the water. It really has to be. It's just that feeling. They must be drinking directly from the Delaware, which you shouldn't. But, it's just Jesus. Anyway.
Obviously, Clay is a knowledgeable guy. You know what I mean? He follows the game of hockey. The game. The Carter Hart coming up with Team Canada. Coming up in the juniors. You're familiar with the pedigree. You're familiar with that. That's like saying, Lafreniere is not going to amount to hell of beans because he had a poor rookie season.
Yeah,
come on.
And then we're going to look at Lafreniere putting up 100 points in multiple seasons for the New York Rangers. It's oh, great. Yes, we're wonderful. I love dealing with him every fucking year. But anyway, But let's see. Rosca saying Montreal Canadiens are heading back to the Stanley Cup Finals since 1993. I was 2 years old when Montreal won their 24th Stanley Cup. Oh my god. Emperor's saying that series was a great moment and a huge stage amplified. Pove 100% right. Yep.
Rosca, I was getting my first hand job when Montreal won the world the Stanley Cup. So I was producing unborn children. You know what I mean? Were you telling the ladies you look like Rod Brendamore during that time? It might have been at the carnival too.
Oh, great. Oh, Kara's saying, if you look at Hart's career so far, his trajectory is similar to Vasilevsky's and Gibson's sophomore slump than elite goaltending. Yes, I agree. I agree. Every goaltender. And Brian Boucher said the same thing during the, was it a Winter Classic or was it now? Whatever the fuck it was called this year over in Lake Tahoe when Boston absolutely just raped us. But, Brian Boucher even said it himself. He said, well, yeah, he's had some bad moments, but you know what? Sometimes you got to look at the team in front of him, and when it all evens out, it'll be fine. And that's coming from a goalie. So, and a really good goalie, an underrated goalie, in my opinion, in Brian Boucher. So I agree with him 110% on that one. So, but anyway, somehow it came to Carter Hart. But you know what? That's okay. I could talk about Carter Hart all day and how awesome he is and how anybody who wants to jump off the bridge should, gladly jump off the bridge if they think that he's worth trading right now. But anyway.
Oh, yeah. You got to bring up Carter Hart. We'll have a little overtime. It's in the spirit of the night. We had overtime in Game 6 and the clincher for the Montreal Canadiens being the first. Yeah, what up, Mikey?
Mikey, what's up, brother? Saying, what's up, boys? Can't believe the Canadiens broke the curse. Well, they haven't broke it yet. They still have to win the cup. They pull that off, then they've officially broken it. But hey, man, that Mikey's team, the Penguins, they were a victim of the Canadiens. They were a victim of them in the bubble last year. We're talking about a Canadiens team we thought was going to get smoked by the Penguins, and the Penguins wound up losing in 4. Like, what the fuck? How the hell did that happen? The Penguins just got beat? What the fuck just happened here?
Huh? Yeah. Like the TK. What?
Yeah.
No, but yeah, no, Mikey, since Montreal won the cup last in 1993, there's been 5 Canadian teams that have made it to the finals and lost. Vancouver twice, both in 94, the Rangers, and 2011, the most recent time. And in between, you had Calgary in 2004, Edmonton in 2006, like Maddie was talking about, and then Ottawa in 2007, all losing in the Stanley Cup Finals. So, yeah, they got to pull off one more series win, and it's going to be the toughest of them all, no matter what team you get, whether it be the Islanders or the Lightning.
Absolutely. The toughest 4 wins to get in hockey for the Stanley Cup. It's all the marbles now for Montreal. It only gets harder from here. But if there's one thing that this Canadian team has proven, they're up for the challenge, and they love it. They live it, and they thrive on it. So, hey.
Absolutely.
And you know what? I'm pulling for Montreal. I hope they actually win. I don't care who gets into on the other side. I don't give a shit. Whether it's the Islanders or the Lightning, I'm going to root for the Canadians. Why? Because you know what? I'm rooting for Priz. I want to see his team win that bad boy, win their 25th cup, honestly. Why not? Would have been, it would be nice to see Montreal end it and watch the floodgates open, watch more Canadian teams start winning the cup just because Montreal said, yeah, it's time to start winning them again, and then, yeah.
Y'all anti-American.
Yeah. And then Prism saying, would have been nice to see a Gillen win. Yeah, out of all those teams, I think it's pretty much consecutive years because they had that lockout year. Consecutive Stanley Cup Finals. Canadian team lost, Canadian team lost, and Canadian team lost. Whew, that's pretty bad. But yeah, honestly, would have been nice to see Calgary win it. That was the heartbreaking one. That was the only one that was really heartbreaking for me out of all the Canadian teams losing. I would have loved to have seen Calgary win that cup that year. That was a heartbreaker. But anyway, all right then. So that will do it, ladies and gentlemen, for this edition of the Hockey Happy Hour. Before we sign off, Robbie, prediction for tomorrow, Game 7. Who do you think wins it? Do you think the Islanders make their first appearance since '84 in the Stanley Cup Finals? Or do you think the Lightning go back to the Stanley Cup Finals this year?
I'm going to predict that the Islanders pull the unbelievable and win the last 2 games of the series to get to the finals for one reason and one reason only. Maybe many of you in the Philadelphia area might not know this show, but there's a show I listen to up in New York, Carton Roberts, and Evan Roberts bathed himself in milk and did the chant to get this team into the Stanley Cup Finals, and they won. And they won that night of them doing it. Now, maybe did that just get them a Game 7, and now it's on them? But it's going to be a tough task. But Matthew Barzal has just been absolutely lights out this whole playoffs. For me, it's kind of between him and Brandon Point in terms of Conn Smythe MVP of this playoffs. So I think the Islanders are going to pull it off, and that's going to be I'm going to be heavily invested and interested in that Stanley Cup Finals between teams of the decades, Islanders versus Canadiens. That's just a nice matchup. That's a nice matchup.
That would be a very interesting Stanley Cup final. So
it would be an All East final.
Yes.
Well, I mean, actually, it's gonna be an All East final either way now. That's right. I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. Either way, though, it'll be very interesting if that winds up being the case. You know, the Islanders up against the Montreal Canadiens, and would be interesting. We never got to see the dynasty of the 70s meet the future dynasty of the 80s in a Stanley Cup final. So it would be kind of interesting to see those two teams meet each other all these years later after those dynasties have ended. But
score prediction: 4-3 Islanders in double overtime.
Oh, you got a marathon game 7 over there. Oh, boy. Oh, you're going to give the freaking Lightning and Islanders fans heart palpitations on that one.
You got to earn it. You got to earn it, boys.
Let's see, because the chat had some predictions on that one. Prism saying, I actually have a Team Canada jersey, but no American one. And he went on to say, and I'm a vet. I feel like a traitor. Just get a John LeClaire USA jersey. It'll make up for the difference on that one.
That's right.
And then Cameron saying the puck was in the net. Oh, yeah, 2004. We all remember that one. And then Trump 2020 bolts. So he's got the Lightning moving on tomorrow. Clay is saying the Lightning, unfortunately. Raska is going with the Islanders to win tomorrow. And he is going to give you that 4-3 New York Islanders triple OT goal, but it's going to be a Matthew Barzal one to send them to the finals.
Oh, all right. Along the same lines there. I like that.
Yeah, all right then. And then Prism saying Pove called Islanders after the Pollock save.
I did. That was the sickest moment I've seen in a long time.
I will admit, I was shocked. My jaw was just like, I couldn't fucking believe he made that. But and he's saying he's going with you, so he's going with the Islanders on that one. Cameron is saying I'll go with Lightning.
I've been hot with my score predictions, man. I've been hot.
So there you go.
Come with me.
And he's saying Islanders, but he doesn't know the score. We'll just go with Poe, like you've been saying, like he was saying.
Great.
Yep. So there we go.
There we go.
So we got Raska and Prism going Islanders. Cameron's going Lightning. Trump's going Lightning, and Clay's going Lightning. So if the chat has its way, then the Lightning walk away, going back to the finals. However, though, we'll have to wait and see which side is right. So tomorrow night, folks, do not miss it. I believe it's an 8 o'clock start for that game, and it'll be Game 7. It's to see who goes and faces the Montreal Canadiens in the Stanley Cup Finals. It'll either be the Islanders or it'll be the Lightning. So we had one exciting conclusion to a series tonight. We will have also another exciting conclusion to a series tomorrow night. And this is where it gets very intense because that's been a very chippy series. My God, someone may go out with they might die. Somebody on one of those teams may very well go out dead. The way that series has been playing. And yes, Kucherov is out because of what happened in the previous game, which was a nasty, nasty cross-check in that previous game. So that's a big loss, though, for the Lightning. But they got plenty of talent, so we'll see. All right, guys, that'll do it for us here. We thank you for joining us on the Hockey Happy Hour. Brian, of course, thanks you, who had to bug out early. And we thank you as well here, me and the Broken One himself. And if you, by the way, want to get in on the action here on A2D Radio, because we love you guys and we want you guys to join us on the air a few times, maybe give us some opinions, there is a way to do that. You can also get special shout-outs on the shows as well. The way to do that is to become an A2D member. That's $9.99 a month. You can get appearances on shows, members-only streams, shout-outs, weekly sports picks from the Money Pot podcast, and those guys absolutely know what they're talking about. You could definitely earn yourself some cash if you follow what they're saying. So, guys, take advantage of this. It's got some great perks. We had Prism on the show, I believe, 2 weeks ago. I think it was 2 weeks ago, and he showed up and made an appearance on the Hockey Happy Hour. All you guys got to do, put that $9.99 in, request it, and we can bring you guys in with us. So we absolutely would love to have you guys. You can come on live and talk to us on your hockey opinions, not just talk to us through the chat. So that's a way for you to get in on the action. And as well, we are brought to you by our sponsors, eXp Realty. If you're looking to buy or sell a home or looking for a change in career or brokerage, contact Alan Foy at eXp Realty LLC at 302-682-8820 or visit him at alan.foy at exprealty.com. Before you know it, you could be selling your old home, moving into your new one, or changing your career up and making a big move, taking that next step in life. Always important, and you always want to get it right. So eXp Realty, that's where you want to go. And we also have Manscaped. You can get 20% off with a free shipping code of A2D at manscaped.com. Yes, unlock your confidence in using the right tools, because you know what? The ladies love confidence, and they also like a shaved area, if you know what I mean. They don't like the bush, unless someone's real weird like that. But 90% of the time, you're not going to get that. So do yourself a favor. Play it safe. Get that shit taken care of, because it's very, very important, and you want to feel confident. That's the way to go. They've got the tools for it. Everything works perfectly, and you'll be awesome. That's what you'll feel like. You will feel like a fucking king. All you got to do, get the 20% off. Manscaped, they'll get you there. All right, then. And we also have, on a serious note, if you do have anyone who has any addictions or any mental health problems, Counseling Center, Sunrise Detox, give them a call at 856-651-8117. Sometimes people struggle with addictions or mental issues, or a loved one is struggling with it as well. We don't want to see you going through that. We don't want to see your loved ones going through that. So make the call so that they can get the help that they need, because addiction and mental health is, this is stuff that can spiral out of control and really ruin your life. You don't want to see that happen. We absolutely don't. So make the call and don't waste time on that. And if you want to get some A2D merch, PhillyDrinkers.com, that's where to go. They've got all kinds of great shirts for Hockey Happy Hour, Kicking It Stateside, all the shows, A2D, you name it, they've got it. It's all there for you. And it's also mugs, shorts. We've got it all there, folks. So PhillyDrinkers.com, absolutely the best place to go. And always having new designs coming up as well. And Specialized Physical Therapy, you can make an appointment to see Dr. Paul Vidal at www.specializedphysicaltherapy.com. See him at Burlington or Cherry Hill, New Jersey. If you got any pains, then that's where to go. They'll take care of you, and you won't be feeling any pain anymore. If Brad was here, he'll tell you his shoulder has been absolutely phenomenal since going to see them. And finally, our main sponsor for the show, Body Check Wellness. Listen, guys. Every once in a while, we have a hard time focusing. Sometimes we have a hard time just kind of feeling that balance of everything in life, because everything is just crazy and out of control every once in a while. It just happens. It's life. Body Check Wellness is the place to go. You can use the promo code A2D for 20% off, because they've got topicals, gummies, edibles, ointments, anything you need. It was created by Riley Cote. The products use hemp, but they also have THC-free products as well. So if you're a little unsure of it, you could try that out as well. And when Riley's on with us, if you use the A2D code, you get 40% off the THC-free product box. So if you want to try that out, kind of ease yourself into it. Rob, you used it, and it's helped you with the focus and the clarity.
Yeah, especially today.
When you've absolutely needed it.
It's probably helping you right now with all these reads. Ladies and gentlemen, the hardest working man in radio business, all these flipping reads. I love it.
I know. It's a good thing, though. It's a good thing I got all these reads. That means A2D keeps on just getting more and more of these great sponsors here for us that we can share with you people, because we love you guys.
It's good stuff. It's good products, man. I mean, I've indulged, several times, both, there's no kickbacks here or whatnot. You know what I mean? It's all about support and what have you. But I've been glad to do it. Like, the focus and clarity from Body Check Wellness has been a great supplement to take with my daily vitamins and my omega fatty acids. Like, it's a great mix. It's made me feel very energetic, and then with that energy, I go and use the Manscaped products to make sure that I'm finally groomed for my lady. So hey, it's all good.
It all comes together, all comes full circle.
That's right. Then I wear the Bad Things Happen in Philadelphia shirt before I go down on my lady. That's nice and shaved too, because nobody wants pubes in their teeth. Nobody wants that.
No one wants to go the when it's all said and done, right?
Hey, I got toothpick.
All right, guys. We thank you for joining us once again from all of us here. Oh, one last one. All Campus OC. They're back up and running. Go check them out too at Ocean City.
Yes, sir.
But yes, we thank you guys for joining us. From everybody here, from all the new people that we saw, and from the regulars, we thank you guys. You fam are what make this thing worth it, because you guys are awesome, and we love you guys very, very much. So thank you guys. We'll see you next week. Next week, the Stanley Cup Finals will officially be underway. Question is, will it be the Habs facing the Lightning or the Habs facing the Islanders? The excitement, it's building up. The tense, the intensity, the tension, it's palpable. You can cut it with a knife, because tomorrow, Game 7, don't miss it. Lightning and the Islanders. Whoever wins gets to face the Habs in the Stanley Cup Final for an epic showdown. And we'll see who comes out of the gladiatorial arena holding up Lord Stanley's Cup. Until then, we'll see you guys next time right here on A2DRadio.com. Peace and love, everyone.